Maybe we should not touch that. Maybe that's the move. You know what? Yep. No, you know what? We're good. I'll just we'll just turn it down. That's cool. Chat, we're live. Oh, I don't have the thing on the screen. Okay. All right. Yeah. We're good. We're good. Oh my goodness. See, I don't even want to touch. All right, we're just not gonna mess with it. I really want to, but I gotta stop because I know if I do, it's gonna mess with the stream. All right, we're gonna get into this. Let me get this off the screen. I want to get the beats rolling too. We need some beats today. It's an early stream. We're usually not this live this early, but we have to be. So we need beats. Not too loud. Hey, if these are too loud, let me know because I can't even hear them, to be honest. But y'all can hear them. You know what I mean? We're doing it for the show. Make the show better. Okay. What's up, y'all? Y'all see the title? My ringer's not even on. How is that doing it? How is that doing that? Why is it still dinging with my ring? Okay, pause. Here's the thing. Today, it's 10:30. What is it? 10:45. Okay, so we got an hour and 15 minutes before free agency officially jumps off. So I wanted to do something before free agency gets started. And what we're going to do is we're going to rank the needs of the Lions. Now, I do have a few prospects. I do have a few free agent targets that I haven't talked about before that I want to touch on. We don't have to go super into detail, but I want to talk about them a little bit. I need to know the name of this beat. It gets you pumped, man. Okay, I got you with the name. Hold on, let me find it. Let me find the name of the beat. It should be on the thing. The thing. All right, wait a minute. It doesn't say. All right, I'll find the beat and I'll let you know. But yeah, so I have the needs ranked, and then we also are going to we're also going to show some more prospects. There's one that I think is super interesting that I never really thought of that much until today. And I was like, you know what? This could be really interesting. Plus, right before we went live, Grady Jarrett was released by Atlanta. That helps. That helps a lot. Okay. Defensive tackle I don't think it's great this year for free agency. I feel like there's a really struggling middle ground. And I think that's just what free agency is going to be going forward with interior defensive linemen. Good defensive linemen that aren't 35 years old are just not available unless they're hurt over and over. Levi Onwuzurike is like one of the only guys that feels like he kind of gets into that box. I'd still like to have Levi back, but that's where free agency is for defensive tackle. You have either older players that maybe were coming off a good season, but probably not. And then you have a lot of young guys that are unproven. And that's where we're at for defensive tackle. So this is not a great free agency market, I feel like, as a whole. I think yesterday I saw it reported that like they don't believe, or I guess scouts around the league don't believe it's a strong free agency class. I think that's correct. I don't think it's a great free agency group, but there's still dudes there, and we're going to take our swings as always. Plus, the Lions, it seems like officially, really quickly, it feels like officially Zadarius Smith is not coming back, so I just want to throw that out there. I don't think he is. He posted on X like, thank you, Detroit, so that one did hurt. I would have liked to keep him around, but that's one of those things where you do have to kind of just let it play out, right? You're opening up cap space for a reason, and the Lions' best way to make cap space this offseason without restructuring something, even though they don't have a lot of clear restructures, was cutting Zadarius Smith. So now I want to see how this plays out because I still want to bring back a lot of our guys, and if you told me that we could get back like Levi and Ife Melifonwu, or say we get Kevin Zeitler back now with this move being made, I'd be like, hey, that's a value. That's a right decision to make. You make that decision. So makes tons of sense to me if that's the case. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, I want to jump right into this, get to the needs. But first, let me show a couple of players because one of these I love the idea of. And then we'll dig into it a little bit more here. Taking bets, Davis fails next season. Panthers overpaid by a lot. Panthers overpaid. Well, Davis has gone to stupid Panthers. Wait, that just happened? Okay, is that like the rumors? That's the buzz? Is that he's going to the Panthers? Okay. All right. Oh, and I also do want to throw out there. So, what is it? They paid J.C. Horn. Didn't they just pay J.C. Horn? That's what happened. Is that why you're saying that for the number? Didn't they just pay J.C. Horn like $25 million a year? Maybe that's going to set. Well, it shouldn't really affect his. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I know they paid him a lot. Okay, but yeah, no, we're going to be live on 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So that's going to shake this up, which is why we're live now. Wait a minute, did I make that thing? Okay, cool, we're good. But yeah, we're going to be live at that time on Bleacher Report, and then I'll be actually live on Bleacher Report at 6 p.m. Eastern time, so there will be a gap in between. My hope is to do like, hey, if we get off of this thing by noon, maybe I can get a video out if the Lions make an immediate move. If not, and they make something when we're live over there, I'll try to jump on that as soon as we get off that show, post some sort of video or live stream. Then we'll come back and we'll do the show on Bleacher Report. Then at night we can jump back on again, depending on how much goes down today. I mean, there's going to be a lot, and going forward after today, it's not going to be like this. Just to throw that out there. So let me go into this, show a couple of players that have caught my eye, and then we'll go to the ranking list. But let me start off here because this is someone that I didn't really consider. Right, we talk about cornerback. I see some of the names in the chat, Adebo or Ward. If I had to go after one of the two, I don't know. Neither of them are coming off a great year, but Adebo I think has a better case. Neither of them were great in man coverage. I think Adebo has a better case because his front is garbage. Adebo would fit better. He's younger. I'd probably go Adebo for that reason. But I think Ward has a case that he's a better player. Like, I think it's fair that he's just a better player at his best. That's what we've seen so far. But yeah, so this is a player that actually fits into that group, and this is the cornerback position. And I never really considered this one heavily because you always kind of get stuck in like, well, it's got to fit this certain bucket. It's got to be this type. But you always got to take yourself back and be like, yo, it's Brad Holmes. He doesn't do that, right? Like, free agency is, yes, more fulfilling needs, but he does take who he feels is best player available. And I think he always tries to follow that kind of idea because, especially if you're giving out a long-term deal, you don't want to just draft a guy or sign a guy to a big deal. It's like, because he makes sense right now. It also has to make sense long-term. And I think one that's interesting is going to be Mike Hilton from Cincinnati. This is one that's the more I think of, the more I think it's interesting. He's 31 years old. He's coming off a great season. He's one of the best run supporting nickel defenders in football, which is, though teams will go 12 personnel, he'll stay on the field to play slot because he plays that well against the run. Now, the issue is they play a lot more zone coverage than what the Lions typically would play. That's going to be the problem. Is he capable of playing man? Yes. He's actually been average to above average statistically when in man coverage. They just haven't done it a ton. I think the skill set shows a little bit. He's not someone that I'd want to have to, put out wide, and deal with more complex routes or the longest developing routes. You obviously want to give him some support. But in this spot, I think it's super interesting. So we're going to watch him right here. I put a couple of plays together. Like, these are the kind of things that when you watch this, you think Lions, right? You think this of run support. You think instinctive player in coverage. You think finding routes in coverage specifically that stands out. You think run support. Like, the way that he plays stylistically makes sense. And then you go to the Lions' needs, which we'll get to here in a second. If you're looking at the cornerback position, we could use some wide quarter help. We're definitely going to need depth, but that can be inside or outside. Amik Robertson's under contract. I think you can make a strong case he's better out wide than he is at the slot. And the Lions just got to see that firsthand. So the Lions could easily say, yeah, we like him out wide. Let's leave him there. We know Terrion's a wide corner, and Rakestraw is kind of both. Last year he was competing in the slot, but also keep in mind Emmanuel Mosley was competing in the slot early to begin as well. Right, so things changed up when injuries took place and guys had to kind of bump around. But adding a guy that's really good in the nickel, and because of his age, he's projected to get, what is he projected? 3 years, $12 million a year. I'm thinking that we might be able to get him on a 2-year deal. And if we had him on a 2-year deal, I think it would actually make more sense for the Lions than having to put him on a 3-year deal. It could match up a lot better timeline-wise. We're not really paying anybody in the back end. And you're going to see him here working with Devontae Smith. Like, he had a fantastic season this past year. And he has some of this ability where he can really work through these routes, stay in the hip of receiver on some of the more difficult routes, I think, to cover when you're having to deal with, inside, outside, vertical release. You have so much more on the table. But if he has help, if he has safety help, then I think you're in a pretty nice spot here. And he's a very heavy blitzing safety, or cornerback, which the Lions love to do. Background is playing safety as well. We see it right here, stepping down into the box. I just think this makes sense. This feels like, and then he was really good against Denver, right? He was awesome against Denver. I think the football intelligence flashes. You see him right here finding a route. You see the depth that he plays with, the way that he tracks it down underneath, the way that he sorts through traffic feels very seamless, working through man coverage. Just the awareness, everything pops. And here he is in open field. He's super reliable. Open field tackling, very reliable. And I think this is the kind of thing that the Lions could plug in, put him on the team, call him a slot cornerback, right? Put him as a slot corner. Allows Amik Robertson to stay out wide. Rakestraw now becomes inside-outside depth. And all of a sudden, you have a really strong secondary, but you get that veteran back in the mix. But you're not just adding a vet because he's a vet. He actually fits the style, right? Some of these other guys, like Darius Slay, we did the thing on. Like, Darius Slay, I don't know that is the perfect stylistic fit. I mean, I'm not mad at the idea of it. He's a good player. I think he's still a good player. But the stylistic fit doesn't feel like, oh, that's like a perfect puzzle piece to who the Lions are. This feels similar to who the Lions are. And he also has a background with Pittsburgh, which we knew. We took Cam Sutton from Pittsburgh. Now, unfortunately, that didn't work out. I thought he should have been playing slot. But this guy's been consistent for years and years over and over. So for me, Mike Hilton's going to start this thing off in terms of some of these guys that have caught my name first off. Now, I will go to cornerbacks here because I do want to tap on a few that I think could be interesting. Khalil Mack just got the bag, 18 mil fully guaranteed. That makes sense to me, man. He's actually coming off a really good season, and they just moved off Joey Bosa, right? So if he's staying there, I guess that does make sense because they have the money to do it. Well, how long was it, though? Just ahead, former free agency, Khalil Mack reached an agreement 1 year. So a 1 year deal. Now, 1 year deal would have actually made sense for the Lions. Like, I think that would have been one of the better paths to go. But I still do believe, and I don't think I threw clips in here. I think if the Lions want to go big money, I would go Malcolm Kuntz. He would be the top of my list for pure edge rusher. If the Lions want to go shell out big cash this offseason, I'd go Malcolm Kuntz. 2 reasons. Number one, he's coming off an injury that didn't see him last season. So obviously that's not like, yeah, good, he's off an injury. That's what I want. But it actually makes the contract more manageable for us potentially. A young player that in 2023 was super productive. I have his stats: 8 sacks, 52 pressures just 2 years ago. And the way, again, stylistically, the way that he plays, the effort that he gives as a run defender, the hand usage, the way that he takes on blocks, it feels like a little bit of a night and day difference between him and I think Za'Darius Smith, right? What we had there with Za'Darius Smith. Now, again, he's not like the prototypical pocket pusher or collapser that Marcus Davenport is. That's not really his build. He's closer to like 250. I think he's gotten a little bit stronger in the NFL, but he carries nice length with him. That's the kind of player that if I was going to give some big money out to, I think I'd maybe look that direction. Not saying that's my top priority, but that's the direction I may twist because I can get it on a deal that's shorter term because of the injury that I know is produced at a really high level. And I think he brings both aspects to the game. Right now, how old is he? Is he 25, 26? Somewhere in that range. I didn't write it down. Played 400, put about 500 snaps in 2023 and put up 52 pressures. That's insane. That's a heck of a number. But he's coming off a knee surgery, so that would be the guy that I'd look at for an edge personally. That being said, though, I want to just touch on a couple more cornerbacks and just kind of lay them out there before we kind of move off the cornerback idea. I like Mike Hilton a lot better. I would keep an eye on him for sure. I think that's a pretty awesome fit. A 31-year-old on a 2-year deal would be fantastic for this defense. Right now, I think, everybody's trying to figure out, like, are they in the window? Are they not in the window? Like, that kind of whole deal. Like, man, forget the window, right? We're trying to avoid the window. But you get a player that won't, like, put you in a spot where it's like, oh, man, after a year he fell off. Now we're stuck with him. You can find him under a manageable contract where you're not locked in, but you're still getting a high floor player on your team that's just super smart and fits who you want to be. I think that makes sense. Now, there are some wide corners that we haven't touched on just to give some attention, like Kendall Fuller, for example. He was released, I think, pretty recently by Miami. Kendall Fuller, to me, can still play. He's always been more of an off-coverage corner, which, again, stylistically is a little bit different than what the Lions are, but he does play with really good run support. He, of course, has ball skills. He had 5 pass breakups this past year. Didn't actually have an interception, but you see his hands at the point of attack. Now let's flip it real quick. Let Peeps is in the – oh, my gosh, Let Peeps is in the building. Oh, is this the original Let Peeps? All right, here we are. This is what this has come to. My guys in the – now, what is your picture, though? I can't even see what this is. Is this something or is this just a black screen? What is this? I don't know what this is. I see you, though. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is taking me back right here. Taking me back right here, my guys in the chat. Okay. All right, I see you. Let's flip it real quick. Let's go to the offensive side. And I want to start with offensive line. Let me go to James Daniels. So I think all of us are like, yo, if Kevin Zeitler wants to come back, hopefully we get that done. We re-sign him, that kind of thing. Like, that's never changed. That's still that's still choice number one for me for offensive line. But there's a couple out there that I think are interesting, and one of them is James Daniels. Now, James Daniels, again, didn't play much this past season. This is kind of how free agency usually goes. Guys don't play a lot because that's why they're free agents. Usually something went wrong, and now they're available. That's why they didn't want to lock him up. But he played right guard this past season. He's projected to get a 2-year contract, which, of course, I like that idea specifically. And this past season only played about 200 snaps. The year before, he played a lot more. My bad. I didn't mean to throw that back on the chat. But James Daniels, to me, like, run blocking wise, athletically speaking, the skill set, if we lost Zeitler, you're going to see how this would be like, oh, I could see this, right? There's flexibility to the run scheme that you could throw him in. He's right here at right guard, 78. It's going to make sense, right? He plays with a good pad level. He's got a wide base. You see it right here as a run blocker, not as much as a pass protector, but as a run blocker, right? He can get under, create leverage. He can run his feet. The movement skills are very noticeable as a run blocker. Now, as a pass protector, you see some redirectability, which is noticeable. He just gets himself into trouble. I think that he gets himself outside of his base consistently, a little bit too much as a pass protector, which leads to more consistency. He doesn't consistently play super wide. I think he plays a little bit more slim, which is not great from an offensive lineman. But then you see it. He can run as a zone blocker. I think the flexibility there of I can put him in a multitude of different schemes, kind of like we saw with Kevin Zeitler, makes it a higher floor for kind of knowing that, okay, I'm going to get a very good run blocker if this direction I go. You can see right here, loses block, loses latch at the entry, and then a quick redirect with his footwork, and he sets back that outside zone block to kind of lead the way. And that's what you see, man. It's the quickness off the ball. Here he is, sets a steal block. It's great positioning, rolls it down, and now they have a lane to work through. This is the kind of thing that the Lions could be interested in. Now, pass pro has been a little bit up and down. I think the whole technique could be just up and down, and the Lions may want to go more the pass pro route if they're trying to look guard. But I think based on the age, still very young player, you can get him on a short-term contract that's missing time. Graham Glasgow's still here. So the Lions still have, I mean, first off, they have their starting five if they didn't bring back, Kevin Zettler. They could just have that. But when you have Graham Glasgow, it kind of sets you at a certain spot where like, okay, we know we have this. That could allow us to take a little bit more of a swing at guard because then we could see what it turns into. And I just think the athleticism as a run blocker is what stands out. So for me, I think James Daniels, I mean, you can see it. I mean, the dude can run block his tail off, and it's not a one scheme fit. It's a versatile fit. It's wide zone. It's gap scheme. You can kind of do it all. You can pull him as a lineman. That's the one. And then the flip side I'm going to go to as well is going to be Patrick Mekari. Patrick Mekari. Now, his interest for most teams will be versatility. 2023, he played both tackle spots. He was good. This past season, he steps in at left guard. Remember this, how bad this offensive line looked early in the year? And they kind of sorted it out. Patrick Mekari was a big part of that. His upside to me is much more pass pro. It's much more football intelligence. It's kind of a weird fit, though, at guard. I got to be honest with you. It looks kind of weird at guard. It's the hand usage you'll see in pass protection. It's the consistency, you see within his base. The way that he can settle himself down in pass protection. He plays like a tackle, but he's working at guard. Leads to good quickness off the ball. It makes me question some of the reactive quickness for short area when you're working at guard versus working at tackle. But you can see there's still recognition. There he is trying to pick up a stunt there in pass protection. Here he gets latched out quickly with the quick jump set. He can get in those spots. Now he can get a little bit outside of his positioning. But he's very disciplined, very square to the line consistently. I think the Lions could go that direction too because yes, he brings you an upside of, oh, this guy can pass protect pretty well. He's under 30 years old. Like, again, you have Graham Glasgow. Graham can run block. This gives you upside there. And if we let him kind of settle into one position, is that where he's most valuable? We leave him in one position, let him grow there, let him get better. Or is there more value in saying, dude, your value is playing literally everywhere. So you can compete for starting guard, but in a pinch, we know Graham Glasgow, his value is, man, this guy can play center and both guard spots. But Mekari can play both tackle spots. And we also keep in mind, Dan Skipper is a free agent. He has not been re-signed yet. I like Dan Skipper, but Dan Skipper does have limitations as a run blocker, unquestionably. I think he's gotten better as a back thrower, but he's got limitations there, and he's over 30 years old now. So if the Lions want to go a direction where they feel like there's more upside for a flexible fit, Patrick Mekari in the meantime could be that and potentially really focus on the guard position, and that could be what your outlook is for the future there. So Patrick Mekari comes in for me on the list of offensive linemen. Those are the three guys I'm keeping my eye on today specifically. There's others as well that we'll touch on here. But I think Mike Hilton, man, is fascinating. To me, Mike Hilton is fascinating. My phone needs to stop singing to me. My bad. I'm kind of like falling in love with the idea of doing that. I think it would make our secondary just so strong this offseason, man. And it'd be, I think you could make a case it makes us stronger adding a slot because I think we could use both. Adding a slot and prioritizing that, knowing that now, okay, Meek, you can play wide still. Like you're going to be in a spot where you're actually better. And that moves us to this needs list. So I ended up putting 8 spots of Lions needs. Let's go through this. Let me know in the chat what y'all are thinking for needs. Rumor is we want to spend $12 million on a corner. Well, look at that. $12 million on Mike Hilton. I mean, look at that. You know what I mean? Just throw it right to him. Bam. $12 million. There you go. What if we use that $12 million to put on the quarterbacks, on their backs and go into season with a Meek, Terran Ennis? I have no problem with it, but we do need depth. So that moves us right to the needs. Let's go right there with the needs. And again, Malcolm Kuntz to me would be top option. Now, $12 million for an edge rusher isn't a lot for an edge rusher, if we're being honest. That's not a top of the market edge rusher. That's more of a middling edge rusher, if we're being honest. Maybe you're going like the Calais Campbell route. He'll probably make a little bit less than that, right? But that's more middling. Or it's Levi Onwuzurike, you know what I mean? Or it's one of those, maybe that could be a higher name in free agency for defensive tackle just because it's so light. Let me go here. So over here, we have our top 8 needs ranked. Let's go through these. This is how I'm ranking them. We'll start off at 1. I put defensive tackle, and I put the number 2 because I think we need 2 defensive tackles. That's where I'm at with it. I think we need 2 defensive tackles. I think there's 2 different reasons for this. Number 1, we have our dogs there lined up. Like if we came into a game tomorrow and you said, okay, Lions are healthy week 1, which they should be. The Lions are going to have, all right, Peeps is crazy. I got to put dude in timeout. I got to put him in timeout. It is what it is. This guy, don't spam, Let Peeps, man. You're the guy, okay? I don't know what your logo is. It's a little bit scary. I don't know what that is. But don't spam, my man. I don't want to put you in a timeout, okay? I don't want to do that. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka. And look, he was the guy that at trade deadline, I thought like, oh, this would be interesting. I've always been a fan of Joe Tryon. I think he's a very smart player. He plays in space well. Remember, he was blowing up all of our screens. I don't think he's ever gotten to the spot where I felt very comfortable as a pass rusher to be like, yes, this is something we have to do. But if they did it for upside reasons, I'd be okay with it. Okay, but let's get to these. So first off, I'm going to go defensive tackle. One, I think the Lions with Lee McNeil probably going to miss the beginning of the season. They could add some help there. Now, they'll have Mekhi Wingo, but if they're healthy week one, which they should be, Marcus Davenport, Lee McNeil, DJ Reader, not Lee McNeil, but we could throw Lee McNeil in there. Reader and Aiden Hutchinson is a great front four. It's a fantastic front four. That looks great. But the Lions know they're probably going to miss a little bit of Aleem. So I think adding a guy to kind of play that role as an interior pass rusher that, of course, brings some run support that could fit more into the pure three-tech role would be valuable. But I think there's a lot of flexibility. One, you don't have to spend a lot of money there. You don't have to go in terms of like long-term, we got to lock a guy up because you have Aleem. Like that wouldn't make a ton of sense. You paid Aleem for a reason. But if you wanted to go the veteran route, you wanted to go older interior defensive lineman that you knew could get after the quarterback for the meantime, that would make sense as of now. That would not be a bad decision for the Lions to go that direction, knowing that Lee McNeil is under contract. That would be the one spot where it makes actually a ton of sense to go that direction. So that's why I'm going to throw that in there. And the flip side is nose tackle. I think the Lions could absolutely use raising the floor. Now, they may not visualize this as much of a need, but I think raising the floor as a nose tackle would make sense. We talked about a couple options yesterday as like more prove-it deal fits for defensive tackle. I think that makes some sense, right? The Taquan Graham, that kind of idea. But I think, and Grady Jarrett, I have some Grady Jarrett clips. I'll show those in a second. Grady Jarrett's a great idea for the whole defensive tackle with the Lee McNeil. Now, he's only 31. He may be looking for a longer-term contract, but you can kind of maybe get to the same path there. Plus, he plays a little bit of nose tackle, so his flexibility might actually connect two things at once here. Whereas, like, hey, when Aleem comes back, he can also just kind of be a rotational piece with DJ Reader, even though he's not a pure, nose like DJ Reader is. They could kind of rotate with each other. But for me, that's why it's at one, because there's really two spots I can hit on here. That's why I put that at number one, that you could use both. Trade Hendrickson to Detroit by 12 p.m. Eastern time today. Yeah, I don't need to see that move happen. I don't need to see that happen. I think there's a path for it to happen now. Obviously, with moving off Za'Darius, that if they do that, there's a path for it to happen. I don't need to pay another edge rusher a ton of money. If it just comes down to contract there. To me, it wouldn't be about what we're giving up, but just a contract. I don't need to give $30 million to an edge rusher opposite of Hutchinson, personally. But we'll see. If it's not that price point, then, you could make it make sense. Number two, I got cornerback depth, just for the reason I hit on, slot or wide. Either one, we're going to need depth. We have three guys I like. Those three could be the starters under contract next year. You look at a lot of these spots, a lot of this is potentially depth. That's a great spot to be in. But we do need depth, regardless. So if I bring in a starting level player and Asante Samuel Jr., you could go that direction. You could also go the cheaper direction. You could go there's so much variety with this. You could go 1 year prove it deals. There's a couple of guys that I like for that. You could go more of the expensive route, which, we hit on a couple names here this morning, Mike Hilton, that kind of thing. Or you could go the Asante Samuel Jr. I'm not as big on Asante for this defense specifically, but he is a playmaker at the catch point. I don't know that he fits as much of the man scheme just by his play style, but I think that he is a heck of a player at the catch point. So if you want a ball hawk, Asante Samuel Jr., I do think connects with that. He was on one of our top 5 lists that we did over on Bleacher Report a couple of weeks ago. He did get into my cornerback rankings. I just didn't have number one. A guy that I think is interesting for cornerback is a Brandon Stevens. He's coming from Baltimore. He's a long press cornerback. Hasn't been perfect statistically or, efficiently, but he does kind of fit, I think, what the Lions could be looking for in that mold, especially if you do lose a guy like Carlton. You could go young player. You could plug him in. He fits stylistically. He's got a lot of length, and he gave us a lot of problems a couple of years ago. We had to go against him. He's a true wide corner, and he wouldn't come in at a super high price point. So I think someone like that could be interesting. That's someone that I'm throwing it to. He's not extremely productive is absolutely right. He's been kind of just like above average, right? He's been an above average piece. So the price point has to dictate that for me. The price point definitely has to dictate that making sense, but that's why I throw that idea out there. And I'll have more that we'll get to here. Number 3, offensive guard. This one's pretty straightforward, just to have competition, right? We have Graham, we have Christian Mahogany. We want more competition there. This is one where I'm cool with spending big money here if they wanted to. You could wait until the draft. You could go a lot of different directions with this. That's the cool thing is Lions do have a lot of flexibility. But we looked at James Daniels. Those are kind of the shorter term deals that Lions could be interesting in. Those things would make some sense as well. Offensive guard to compete with our 2. Those 2 could be the starters, but we need a guard to compete. You always need offensive line depth. You could add backup tackle here as well. I mean, we do have Manu. We just don't know what that looks like. So a guy like Patrick McCarry that can do all of those things could actually connect a lot of the boxes here for us. Rush and depth. This is a guy that backs up Aiden Hutchinson because we do have Josh Pascal and Marcus Davenport who will play opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Typically, like, if you're healthy, that's the idea. Those guys will be opposite. But you flip it to the other side, behind Aiden Hutchinson, we don't really have a backup right now. Like, we actually don't have, like, anybody as our backup. Not anybody that's at all kind of proven. So adding a backup to Aiden Hutchinson, this is typically how this goes as we look at this as a need. This one could definitely be filled through the draft, right? You add somebody that can maybe play on both sides. It's such a deep edge rusher position. You add a rush end that can play behind Hutchinson. We could potentially stop having to ask about this position, if you hit that direction. But for free agency, it's tough, right? Because it does put you in that spot where it's like, if you want a proven guy, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. You're going to have to give him multiple years likely. And because as we're seeing, Khalil Mack now just got locked up. Like, that's what you're going to have to do. So at that point, you better feel like he can play opposite of Hutchinson. This can't be just his backup. But if you do want to look for his backup in free agency, you can go to the cheaper route. You can go more of a prove it deal if you want to go that direction. Safety depth is pretty clear cut. We don't have any backup safeties really. I mean, no one that's really proven. We got Lauren Strickland. Like, there's no safety depth here. That could be iffy. But we could use both. We could use the guy. I mean, we always use flexibility at safety. So a guy that can step down, play the run, play man coverage, have range for single high. It's a lot to ask. I think the veteran route makes a lot of sense here because we're still pretty young here. But if you go the veteran route, you could save some money in free agency rather than, going 3 years, 10 plus million for a safety. It doesn't really make any sense because you have your two starters. But going the veteran route could actually be in play here. Wide receiver number 4. We always have this question for the last 2 years. It feels like we've hey, we need another receiver, but they always figure it out. It's been Tim Patrick, it's been Josh Reynolds. Both those guys are now available. Both those, I think, are in play to be brought back. We could also go a little bit heavier here. I don't think we need to spend massive money, but both of them are in play. So that's why I'm going to go wide receiver number 4 at number 6, right? We always figure this position out. We usually don't have to do it with a lot of money financially. I think the Josh Palmers of the world make a lot of sense. There's also flexibility. The line's going to go a Greg Dortch route, who's a good player for Arizona. It just doesn't fit the kind of mold of a big receiver. He's 5'7". There's a lot of options at receiver. There always is. Tight end number 3. We don't have really a tight end number 3. We have Brock Bright. We have LaPorta. I like both of them, but we don't have a tight end 3. So Shane Zylstra is a free agent for the Lions this offseason. That's why it's on this list. And then number 8, a backup to Alex Anzalone long-term. Now, right now it is Malcolm Rodriguez, and Malcolm played pretty darn well this past year. He always does. But I still would like to take a swing on a guy that could have some athletic upside. But it's also this flip side as well. Even forget that for a second. I also would like to potentially add a linebacker that I feel like would raise the floor. Like a backup linebacker to raise the floor. We're actually at a good spot depth chart-wise with Malcolm Rodriguez. Zeke Turner is back now. You do have your backup Derek Barnes at Mike. Like, you're in a pretty good spot depth-wise, but I would like to kind of raise the floor. So if the Lions could go a route of, like, proven linebacker that wants to be here. Obviously, Dre Greenlaw is top of the list for me, but there's a lot of names that could be thrown into this list. I mean, Eric Kendricks over the last few days, if he wants to fit, like, there's a couple of names that I think would fit there. So backup for Alex Anzalone long-term, but / a higher floor backup linebacker would be really nice for us. Specifically off the ball would be really nice for us. So those are my top 8. That's ranked in order. Judon was pretty terrible last year. I'm a fan of Matthew Judon, though. Going back a couple of years, he obviously cooked us with New England. I'm a fan of Judon. He would fit into that mix of, like, backup rush end. Like, that's hopefully a higher floor, even though he wasn't good last year. Hopefully a higher floor, but cheaper price point because of his age, because he's coming off a bad year. We were swinging on him getting back to the upside. That's something that could make sense. It would also not break the bank long-term or financially for 1 year, hopefully. That's why that makes sense. But yeah, for me, these are going to be the top 8. He was a rookie corner on – wait. Okudah did not have bad stats the last 2 years. Jeff Okudah, is he a free agent again? He might be. He probably signed another 1-year deal last year, so he might be. I like Jeff Okudah, but I don't believe he'd come back here. But he was getting Burbles time. Okay, we're talking about Jeff Okudah. That's why I got to that. Okay. Manuel Mosley back or no? My guess is no. I think last year was a little bit surprising they brought him back, but it was kind of like the Marcus Davenport move. So if Davenport didn't play again, I would assume he's not coming back. That'd be my guess. So I think Mosley is kind of now into that officially, but that's why cornerback's so high, because Mosley was inside outside. You know what I mean? So there was the idea of, like, we could add either here, and I think that should be kept in mind. It doesn't have to fit a certain mold for cornerback this offseason, and I think the Lions do like their guys. Like, again, if they came in with Rakestraw and Terrion and Amik starting, I think they'd be fine with that. There's a reason they invested in those two. but there still needs to be some sort of depth added. And I think there's flexibility. We went to Isaiah Rodgers from Philly. He's a free, and he could be very cheap this offseason. There's flexibility here because there's a lot of flexibility in the cornerback room. Cornerback room may be the most, I think, versatile room the Lions could attack this offseason because there's a lot of different styles. There's a lot of different price points, and there are certain guys that could fit the scheme. There are certain that don't fit as well, but there's ball skill pieces. Like cornerback to me has so much room to attack this offseason that's one that I assume they will attack in free agency because I think it also makes more sense than forcing that in the draft. It makes more sense there. Let me see what's going on here. My phone is going crazy. Nothing's happened yet because it's not noon, but at some point things will go down. Those, you see the tweet, Lions traded Gibbs, Monty St. Dan, Campbell, Hutch, and 6 others for a first-round pick. Hey, as long as that first-round pick's in the top 10, I'm with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we need. We really need that top 10 pick. But no, Twitter down again. Twitter might be down. You know what I mean? It's free agency time. I don't think it's down for me. Let me check. Twitter could be down, though. I don't know if they have that issue when things are popping. It's loading slow for me, so it might be down. I don't know. It's kind of like frozen for me. So yeah, Twitter might be down. Unless it's my thing. Twitter might be down right now. Shout out to X. You know what I mean? People are doing way too much with football. Maybe it is down. That's crazy. I've never seen that, by the way. If that's a thing, I've never even heard of that as a thing. Is Reddick a fit? I don't think Reddick is. I don't know if he's a locker room cancer. Like I don't know. It was like a weird situation last year. We heard the Lions did make a call, so I don't know that he's not a fit. I didn't think that player-wise he made sense to make a big move for last year because I didn't want to pay him that money because I didn't think he was that good of a player last season. But available now could definitely drop the price point and make it make more sense. He just didn't stand out to me a ton for when we needed an edge rusher to be like, yeah, go give that guy big money. I didn't want to do that. But I think if his price point goes down, there's a value in a player like that. And now knowing that you have your starters on lock, he could make more sense. He's a plus pass rusher. I just didn't think he was worth the big money idea last year and giving up, super heavy capital to go get him. You want Sheldon Rankins? I'm not as big on Rankins, man. He's so shaky against the run. There's a background there. There's a connection there. In the past, I liked it. He's just so shaky against the run that I'm not big on it. I'd rather bring back Levi. And if we trade for Hendrickson, it's all about the deal in terms of the contract. I don't care what we have to give up. If they want to give up a second for Hendrickson, go for it. Like, that's fine with me. It's just going to be about what that contract looks like. Twitter is back. Okay, shout out to Twitter for being back. Lions were interested in Stephon Diggs last season. He could be an option. It would be cheap. He's coming off that ACL injury, which, hey, shout out to, dudes coming off ACL injuries. That could be an option. I mean, like, I put receiver at 6. Like, receiver is obviously one of those things that isn't pressing, but we could do it. That's another spot that has some flexibility this offseason. Now, Stephon Diggs, I would have some questions about how he would fit, like mentally, like how he would fit with us. Like, I actually would have real questions about him making sense for our culture. Like, I really would have questions about that fitting into us and how we want to be. But, it seemed fine with Houston last year. He wasn't as productive when he got to that offense, but it seemed like it worked okay with Houston. He's a good player. I wouldn't have a problem with it, especially if it is a 1-year prove-it deal. I wouldn't have a problem with it. You think those thought on Ben Johnson talking crazy? What he say is crazy. I know he's been talking. You know what I mean? He's confident, bro. Like, everything I've seen, he's super confident. I think it's just going to be awesome. Like, I did see the thing where he was talking about like having a quarterback that like, can create, and he wasn't really with that the last few years. And while like that stings a little bit, it's like, oh man, why'd he say that? It is true. Like, I mean, golf, that's not his game. So, I think he's coming in with a ton of confidence. He's building up his guys, and I'm okay with that. Like, if that's his path to doing it, we'll see if it plays out, but I'm okay with him doing that. I think it's just going to add more energy and fuel when he gets here with the Lions. I want Demarcus Robinson. I know you want Demarcus Robinson, Charles. That's been your guy since day one. And back on the field with Holmes in the same scheme. I'm just not big on Sheldon Rankins, man. And I think him being available when he was available and the Lions didn't go after him, I'm just not big on it. I don't think it helps us against the run. I think we have to get better against the run, like first and foremost. I don't think it does a ton for us there, and that's why I'm not super interested in it. But I guess at the right price point, you can make it make sense. It just really comes down to that. But okay, let me make sure I didn't have anybody else that I wanted to hit on here before we keep it moving. Byron Murphy is a free agent this off. Byron Murphy had 6 picks last year that actually led football. I did not know that until I saw that today. He's interesting, but I don't think he fits perfectly for us. I think he's more of a half-turn corner. They also had a very weird, unique defense because they blitzed all the time, which I think led to some of those interceptions as well. He's interesting, though, because he does bring inside-outside flexibility. That would be pretty slick to also take him from Minnesota. I'm keeping my eye on that one. I think that's interesting. DJ Reed, I think, is again arguably the best fit at corner outside of Carlton Davis. It's just he's going to also have maybe one of the higher price points in free agency. If the Lions want to go spend big money, I think that'd be one of the safer routes to do it. Hit on James Daniels. We hit on Malcolm Kuntz a little bit. Tight end super weak in free agency, but we could use it. And then Grady Jarrett. Yeah, let me go to Grady Jarrett real quick because I think Grady Jarrett is kind of interesting here. Let me go to. No, he is a zone guy, but he was good when he was in man last year. Like he still was a plus player in man. I just don't think the style of man that he plays is perfect for us. I don't think it long-term perfect. I think he'd struggle to deal with more complex routes for us. I may even plug him into the slot if I brought him in. Like that might be the fit that I'd throw him into just to make it make sense. Okay, let's go to let me get this thing to load. I did have a couple clips on Grady Jarrett, but I didn't get a lot there because he was released right before. He was released right before. He listed at 6'3", 300 pounds. He played 740 snaps last year, 34 pressures, had 28 stops, which is what stood out. Here we go. I'm okay with James Daniels on a one-year deal. I'm not mad at it. Like I don't trust his pass pro because of his technique. I think is messy, but I wouldn't be mad on it on a one-year deal. I wouldn't have a problem. If we're not going to bring back Zeitler, I wouldn't have a problem taking a swing there because I think guards in a very interesting spot having Graham under contract. Like if you went that kind of route, I wouldn't have a problem with it. If you went a one-year type of deal route, and I think James Daniels in line with that coming off the injury, I wouldn't have a problem with doing something like that because I don't think it would break the bank for us. Okay, here we go. Okay, so I only put two clips together here to be honest with you. I don't agree with Jarrett. And Grady Jarrett's interesting. Like he's also a fit kind of too. I think for how we play, I think he would actually plug in pretty well. I mean, he's super leveraged as a player. We know that he's constantly productive, and he's not like a guy that's missing a whole bunch of time, so that's why he's available. He's a playmaker, too. Like, the guy can get on the football. He's a playmaker. He can get off blocks pretty well. He's got a lot of power. He plays with some suddenness as a pass rusher as well. This is coming in really blurry for some reason. I think he's super interesting. I don't think he's the most stocky player that like is overwhelming in terms of power, but I think his athleticism does pop a little bit as a mover. And I think the fact that he's not coming off an injury makes him interesting. I always wonder about players like that when it's like, I'm sure they had their ear to the ground on like who's actually going to get released. Like they have more insight. But for us, like having a guy get released right before free agency, like how does that shake up what their expectation was for what it's going to look like? Because again, interior defensive line is rough this year. And I think that Grady Jarrett actually could be one of the better fits for us. So I would 100% keep eye on that name. I think that makes a ton of sense. I'm a Grady Jarrett fan. He was a dog in Atlanta. Every time we had to play him, he was always the guy that you had to deal with. I'm on that. If Brandon Graham isn't brought back for the Eagles, great mentor for Hutch. I love Brandon Graham. I'd love him. Yeah, and that's really the thing, right? It's either he's going to retire or he's going to stay Philly. I'd love him. He's always one of those guys. He's just a couple of those guys that'll pop up and they're like, okay, probably not going anywhere else, but he is a free agent. Like he was always in that mix. There was a couple of guys that would usually fall in that mix. But yeah, if the path worked out where he could come here, yeah, I'm on board with Graham. It would make sense timeline wise too to bring him in. I'm always on board with that. Calais Campbell's cool. I'm not like I don't think Calais Campbell is like top tier, but he's not a bad fit. I'm not mad at Calais Campbell. Like I said, I liked him back at the trade deadline. I think he had a good year with Miami. I think he changed up his role a little bit. I think he makes some sense. I mean, and the Lions always say that they have interest in Calais Campbell. I'd be very cool with bringing in Calais Campbell, because there is flexibility. And I do think he could play opposite of Hutch. He just has such a unique role that you could move him around on pass down, so he could replace some of the Zadarius Smith things that you lose. I wouldn't hate it. I think his role would be a little bit weird to find if healthy, which is the problem. Like I actually don't think he'd be a starter if the Lions are healthy. He'd almost like compete more with Josh Pascal. And I don't think he's going to overwhelm you as a pass rusher. He's just going to create movement. He's going to move the quarterback, and he's going to be pretty straightforward in terms of who he is. But it keeps working for a reason. I think there's just a baseline that he brings as a run defender, specifically as a pass rusher, that he's going to get you to a certain amount consistently. Is he going to excel over that? Probably not. But he's probably one of the more, what you're going to get exactly from Calais Campbell, which is what makes him interesting. So I'm on board with that. I think Kaminsky is gone. So that's right. Like Kaminsky, if they wanted to bring him back, I assume they could get him on a minimum deal. And I wouldn't have an issue with bringing Kaminsky back on a minimum deal. We just didn't see him. We were hoping that he'd come back last year. Lions held out hope for him. I think Kaminsky was the guy that they ended up letting, they brought the number in through the cuts. That way they could make sure that they had a path to bring him back. So the Lions wanted to bring him back on a minimum deal. I'd have no issue with it. That's something I'm on board with. Campbell on a cheap deal is not terrible. Yeah, it's not terrible at all. We could do a lot worse than that. Okay. I think we hit on some of the main names here. I want to make sure I didn't miss on anything. Let's actually do this before we get out of here because we have a little bit of time before free agency pops off. So, like I said, we're going to be reacting to all this. It's not that I won't be doing a show. It's just going to be a Bleacher Report. It's going to be a 3-hour show. We're going from 1:30 to 4:30. So if you have the app, man, tune in. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have like segments too. We're not just going to be sitting there reacting to stuff. We have like ideas that we had to come up with, segments that we had to make. So I think it's going to be a ton of fun today. I really want Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp would be cool if he's released. Cooper Kupp would be cool if he's released, and I'd give him a very cheap deal. I don't think he separates much level 2 anymore, but I'd give him a very cheap deal, and I'd let him work underneath. That's fine with me. I didn't think he was great last year. I think there's a reason they're moving off him. But if he was released and you get him on a very cheap deal, that's okay with me. He could still separate in his own way. 3 hours. Yeah, we're going 3 hours, man. You know, they're hooking us up though. And we did a deadline show. So that I don't know if that was 3 hours, but it was a couple hours. And I think we were live last year for free agency. Maybe not. I don't know. This might be the first time we've done this for free agency. We've had like a couple of these like big event streams that we've done, and it's been the same group of guys. So usually chemistry wise, it's fantastic. They're pretty awesome. And they do crazy work with production, and they'll have like insiders come on. So it's pretty nuts. Okay. Let me see if we can go here. Minsky known to bring back while we're cutting people to raise cap leverage. I don't know. I think he's a good player though, so like I wouldn't have a problem with it. You know, it's like, hey, he missed last season. Like the Zadarius Smith thing will be interesting to me for the fact of what happens now with our players that are free agents. Because if we're gonna take that and be able to turn it around into Kevin Zeitler, we're able to turn it into Levi Onwuzurike and things like that long term. By all means, go for it. But if I can get a guy, because I know on a minimum, like I would say he's a plus player when he's here. I don't know if I'd put him in good, but I think he's an average to above average player. Now, he took a little bit of a step back, but I kind of know what he's going to be. You know what I mean? So I'm okay with doing that on a minimum deal. Plus, if I don't have any guarantees there, I can just cut him again. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, that sounds messed up, but I could. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if I'm going to spend minimum, who am I going to get on free agency for a minimum that I know what I'm going to get? Like, there's not many of those dudes I feel like on the market. Plus, I know he fits, and I know he's a culture fit, and I know I can put him in different spots. So I always think about it like that. I don't know how many deals I give out a minimum deal for a pass rusher that I actually know what I'm going to get. That's why I'm okay with it. Like, but I get what you're saying though. It does make sense. And the Zadarius thing did throw me off a little bit. I thought we were going to keep him. So I don't want to overreact to it because it, you know, free agency is one of those things that, well, one, it never ends, but it's like, you have to really see the full picture of the vision of what this is going to turn into before I can make a huge reaction. Cause I don't know. Like I could say the $5 million is going to Zeitler, but you could also say the $5 million is going to this other dude we signed. Like it's all encompassing. So I don't know, man. I want to see it shake out because I didn't love the move, but I want to see it shake out. How would you not bring back Amari Cooper? How would you not bring back Amari Cooper? Oh, for Buffalo? Yeah, he wasn't productive for Buffalo. And Buffalo was in a weird spot where like he produced, he had a couple flash plays early, and then he kind of just wasn't productive at all. And then Matt Collins is someone that I think they could be interested in bringing back. I could see Buffalo actually moving off him. He wasn't productive with Buffalo, and it was a weird spot because obviously Cleveland ended up paying him. He was good there early, then they kind of moved off late. He's still a nice player, I think. It's just the fact that he didn't bring what I think they expected him to bring. I like Amari Cooper, man. Amari Cooper would be a pretty fantastic and interesting idea, and he'd be probably pretty cheap though. But yeah, he didn't produce, man. He didn't produce with Buffalo, which is weird because when I thought the same thing. When I hear Buffalo fans talk about it, I was like, oh, they're going to want him back. They traded for him. And it's like, we don't know if we want him back. Like, all right, wait a minute. Hold up. Okay, maybe they don't want him back. Like Myers, he's consistent, but also has huge number of games. I'm a fan of him, man. Okay, my goodness, my thing is like frozen. I think I broke everything here. I was going to go to a couple positions so we could just kind of see what's available. I want to show you all this tight end room first. This thing is a disaster. I've been looking at this, man. Evan Ingram, look at this, bro. Evan Ingram really might be the top free agent on the market now. Him getting released within the last week was massive. He's going to get paid a lot. Juwan Johnson is nice. Outside of Juwan Johnson, there's a lot of nothing here, to be honest with you. Like, there's just not anything here. I'm like, I would be cool with Juwan Johnson. Don't get it twisted. But I think all of these guys' numbers are going to be just shot up like crazy because there's just not much depth at all. Like Harrison Bryant wasn't very productive last year, but he's still on here. Mo Alley-Cox, they were always hoping was going to turn into kind of that like great. I like Mo Alley-Cox, by the way, and I wouldn't have a problem with that. But it's pretty light. It's a very light tight end room. I thought Hayden Hurst was productive. He wasn't last year. It's just there's not much there, dude. Can't believe Twitter down 30 minutes before we see. Hey, that's everybody could be missing out on the dang rumors. If the Bills let him walk, bro, Mike Collins gets it done. Mike Collins was getting it done last year. I think the Browns changed their quarterback too much. They're about to again. They're about to. Well, Well, I mean, I get it though. You know, in fairness, I get it. Like Deshaun Watson's not great, so I can understand getting off that. The Baker thing in hindsight shouldn't have moved off him, like no doubt. I think Kirk Cousins would be good for him. I do have inside scoop that maybe Kirk Cousins isn't interested in being there. I don't know how real that is, but I've heard that he doesn't want to go there. I think it makes sense, but I've heard that he doesn't want to be there, so it's very possible that he doesn't. I'm interested in that one. What do we got? Linebacker. There are some dudes at linebacker that I think would be pretty interesting because this is one of those areas where we did the Devin Bush thing. Willie Gay hasn't been great the last few years. I always thought he'd fit. You know, he kind of shot onto the scene early. I always thought he'd fit. Kendricks, I don't think would maybe just want to be here, so that's the problem with him. Neville Hewitt was really good last year for Houston. I honestly am surprised that he's going to be set to be a free agent. Did they not resign him yet? Neville Hewitt was good though last year. Like he'd be kind of a higher floor, kind of raise the floor as a backup linebacker. I wouldn't have a problem with that. I think there's a lot of options here. We did the Devin White thing. You know, that's the upside swing that you take. Cunningham's always a free agent for some reason. Ty Summers. Okay, so now we're getting down. It kind of dwindles faster actually. But there's a couple different options. I'm glad. I can tell you this though. You're looking at this linebacker market, man. I'm glad the Lions locked up Barnes and didn't even let him hit the market. Like my goodness, bro. Yeah, man. His price point, like I thought we would have more value in Barnes than everybody else would, but who knows, man? Maybe teams could have looked at him as on the upswing as well, and like someone maybe could have bought into paying him a lot of money. It's possible. Outside linebacker Caleb Von Chasen will be something I'd be interested in. I don't think Gardeck fits style wise. He'd be an okay backup. He's been productive a lot with Arizona. He's just not much of a forceful player, but he's been productive a lot. Josh Uche's available now. There's Joe Tryon. I'd be okay with taking a swing there, Charles. Like if we want to take that swing there and see what we could turn it into, I'm on board with that. Our boy's available, Drew Okwara. Yeah, linebacker is just really light at the top because now we know Bosa's off the board. Von Miller's probably going back. Judon wasn't good last year. Preston Smith getting released after getting traded. Like, yo, I like Jerome Baker, but now I'm looking at like, yo, his price point's going to get high. So, hey, Derek Barnes might have made some real money if he got available. Lions might have got ahead of something here. That may have been real smart. Okay, Lions, I see you. Let's go to cornerback. Cornerback's probably the strongest room. Yeah, Jeff Okudah is. Okay, I see you, Hefe. This might be the strongest room. There's a lot of options here. Razul's not coming off the strongest season, but I'm always a fan of Razul Douglas. I just don't know that he fits man-wise for us, so I don't know that we'd actually be interested in that. Stephon Gilmore, I think if they were going to get him, they would have got it last year, so I don't think they'll go that route. Slay should be on this list somewhere here. Right, he wasn't brought back. Henderson didn't even play last season. Dante Jackson's been kind of a mess for the last few years. Davius White, that's the injury one. I thought White was interesting. It was just the injury thing, but I don't think they'll do that. They had an option last year to go that route too. They didn't. Mosley's on here. Stokes has been rough in Green Bay. That has not been it. Christian Fulton had an upswing with the Chargers. Honestly, everybody was better for the Chargers. Like everybody was good for the Chargers last year. Their interior defensive line was good for the Chargers last year. Trying to think of who those guys were. They had a couple dudes last year that actually did pretty well. Let me find. I think I had those guys written down. Poona Ford. Yeah, Poona Ford was effective for him. I don't think Poona Ford is the type the Lions would be looking for on defensive line, but he was good. I always like Ronald Darby too. I'm a fan of Darby. I mean, obviously he's always hurt, but I like Ronald Darby as a player. I think I like Ronald Darby more than most people. Last year he was someone that I was interested in targeting for cornerback, and the Lions do bring in injured guys, so I always like Ronald Darby. Like he gets a lot of hate, I feel like, but I think he can play. I think he can actually play at a pretty high level. Just no one, I think, trust him necessarily. Isaac Yadam didn't have a great year with San Fran, but he is man coverage wise. Like he's a big long press corner. So for a cheaper option, Isaac Yadam, actually, this could be the time to take your swing there. Avonte Maddox, I think that's where DeJean took over for Avonte last season. Adoree Jackson, he was billed last year. Thomas, remember Thomas? I saw this name today. Y'all remember Tavier Thomas? Tavier Thomas last year, we were talking about him. He didn't have a great year. There was limitations with his game, but the Lions had brought him up towards the end, like special teams, that kind of thing. I'd keep my eye on Tavier Thomas. I just keep my eye. He's coming from Tampa Bay too. Like this is something I'd keep my eye on. All right. Not as a day one move, but one of the cheaper moves that could come down the road is that Thomas slides in. I like Antonio Hamilton. I think he's a good player as well. Khalil Dorsey, Noah Benogany. Yeah, cornerbacks. Get a little bit lighter now as we roll down here. Mills is playing safety. Troy Hill. Dang, I didn't even Troy Hill was still in the NFL. Dude's 34 years old, man. Brandon Stevens. There you see, he's hiding, bro. Brandon Stevens is hiding down here. Now we get to the big money guys. Or a few of them, maybe. Maybe not. Okay, maybe not. I guess those dudes all got paid. That's what happened. Witherspoon was good with the Rams. He was good with the Rams. Honestly, wouldn't have an issue with that. We had Caleb Farley one of our mock off seasons. Okay. Oh, and I would keep an eye on this too. Nate Hobbs. I like Nate Hobbs. I don't know how much we've talked about him over here. I think Nate Hobbs is a super interesting option because he plays inside outside. He's kind of built like a wide corner, but he might be better on the inside. Nate Hobbs, just after bringing in Amik Robertson, maybe they wouldn't want to go this route. Nate Hobbs hasn't been a bad player though. Nate Hobbs is super long. I would keep an eye on Nate Hobbs as well. Like he's could be one of those sneaky under the radar, moves to bring in as a guy like Nate Hobbs. I keep an eye on that. Anyone looking for NFL draft rental houses? Yo, I got to give you my email, Don Kong, because we were talking about that yesterday. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. We were talking about that yesterday. Did you send me something? If you did, I apologize. I didn't even look, to be honest. If you sent me something on like Instagram. So I will have to I'll have to check over there. Bring Sutton back? Oh, snap. Hey, don't even let's not do that. Let's not do that. We're about off the dude's dead cap, actually. This is the last year we have to deal with that. So like we're about in the clear. Safety's got some dudes. I looked at Ashton Davis. He actually plays in the slot a little bit for the Jets. He could be interesting. I didn't think he played great last year, but he could be interesting. And then Julian Blackman's a good safety. I like Julian Blackman a lot. Julian Blackman would be cool. If we get him on a reasonable deal, he'd be cool. You sent me a message? Okay, I appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna check that out, and then I'll reach out to our guys over there at Roundtable today. Plus, I'm gonna talk to some of them today, so I'll let them know and see what they're thinking. Eric Murray. Yo, I love this idea. There's a couple dudes, you know what I mean? Not Elijah Campbell. I was thinking of someone else when I saw the name. I love that. I love the idea of Eric Murray, bro. Like, if there was a guy that I could be like, yo, lock him in as like a vet, like, give me a vet you for sure are going to get, I'd probably go after Eric Murray, man. I think he'd fit in so well. But there's a couple. Like, I did a thing on Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins he's a true single high safety, but he's a tight end piece. Like, you put him on tight ends, you let him match up one-on-one. That's kind of his role, and it led him to finding like a third safety spot for New England over the last couple of years. So Jalen Hawkins is interesting because he does fit like kind of the scheme that we play as well. He's a big body at free safety. I don't know how much range he actually has, but he does play as a single high safety. I think he's an interesting option, just fit wise. And there's so many names here. Tashawn Gibson, man, we've done Tashawn Gibson before. He's 34 now. Cam Bynum, we'll see what he gets paid. He might get paid a lot. Ryan Neal. Build wise, is pretty similar to Iffy. Big, long safety. There's a couple guys. I keep an eye on these. Anybody from Tampa Bay, honestly, keep my eye on every one of them. Kayvon Merriweather, like he's an exclusive rights guy. Anybody that's from Tampa Bay, keep my eye on. Hufunga. Now Hufunga's coming off of. Well, he hasn't had the best last couple of seasons, to be honest. But we know Hufunga was at his peak, so that's a good spot to buy low. Hufunga could be a buy low piece. That's like the definition of buy low right there. He did. John Johnson. I've always liked John Johnson. He's kind of bounced around a little bit. And I mean, maybe this is the time. Maybe this is the time where it actually happens. But I feel like John Johnson hasn't produced the last few years, which has been the problem. I also finally watched Derek Harmon. He'd be a bad first-round pick. I like Derek Harmon. I like that. You know what's crazy about Derek Harmon? We put him as we did our last mock. It's Monday now. I wonder if we're going to do a mock this week. I don't even know. But Derek Harmon didn't even get like into the 20s in our last mock. He was one of the higher draft picks that we actually had. He was probably like the biggest riser, if I'm being honest, that we had this last week. But that will be someone that at some point we have to do a video on. I know it's kind of like went by the wayside a little bit with free agency. Still watching dudes. I just haven't done the video yet because free agency's happening, and I don't think it makes sense to even put those out. After this week, I'll probably start throwing those back out there just because it'll actually make sense for the algorithm to throw those back out there. But as of now, I kind of let those drop. Remember the gaming channel? Those were the days. Let Peeps is him. Okay, this is crazy. I do remember those days, and I definitely want to do them still. All right, Charles Menahue is interesting. I was looking at Charles Menahue a couple days ago. Now, his price point, they're projecting like, I think it's like $8 to $11 million. The price point just feels weird. That's the problem I have with it because he's a good pass rusher. I don't like the price point that high, knowing that we have who we have now with Hutchinson here. But after moving off Za'Darius, like he actually could be a guy that you could lock in on a more reasonable deal. Like you go multi-year deal, I don't want to give up $20 million to some guys because I don't want to be stuck in the contract. Charles Omeni, who I wouldn't know that he's a good pass rusher. Maybe a little bit less as a run defender, but I would know I'd have a good pass rusher. He had a lot of stability opposite. I was trying to find my notes here. I don't think I have them handy. I don't know where I wrote them down. But he was the guy I was watching too. So I think we're on the same page with that one. Let me see if I can find it. Maybe I can't. Why is no one talking Chase Young? Yeah, I think Chase Young, the buzz kind of died after last year. Honestly, some people were on it, some people weren't. I've always liked Chase Young. And then last year was, I think buzz kind of died. They just did nothing in New Orleans. So I think that kind of killed it. But I mean, maybe you could have helped the stock kind of going under the radar a little bit. I thought we would be big Z back. And it's today I'm saying, thank you, Detroit, makes me think that those conversations weren't a thing. So my thought is that he's probably not coming back. Defensive end's in a pretty good spot here, though, with a couple of like the Charles Omeni types. DeMarcus Walker is going to make less. DeMarcus Walker actually does bring flexibility. He's inside-outside piece, but he's more of like a heavy defensive end, which after bringing Davenport back, they probably won't go this route, but he was actually kind of productive last season. I thought he was always one of the sleeper players for Chicago. Actually, while we're doing this, before we get too far, so I put together, let me show you a couple of these lists that I had, because I do have a couple of lists that I had saved. Not in really any order here, but a couple of these that we did on the Bleacher Report channel. We did, so yesterday we did some of the free agents that were released, or a couple of days ago. Let me go to this. So this was the full graphic. I forgot to show this. We talked about this. This was the full graphic I put together of upside free agents, because the Lions do sign those kind of guys, the upside free agents. Oh my goodness, hold up. There it is. I'm not sure why it's like that. I can't put in the bottom right. So I had Tylan Wallace on there. I had Miles Bryant from Houston. I forgot about Miles Bryant. That's another slot corner. Didn't play last year, but he was good in the 38 snaps. I thought I liked Miles Bryant. He was also with New England, so he was in a heavy man system. So I put Miles Bryant on there. Jalen Hawkins was, we just touched on him. Devin Bush, Tylan Wallace. If the Lions traded for Keon White, that would be the biggest disaster for New England. Part one. And part two, I might cry a little bit. Like, I'm just going to throw it out there. If that's like a real thing, I might cry a little bit. Just to be honest. I try to get into Peyton Turner. I just don't think he brings any juice as a pass rusher, because I'm like on the same idea of you bring in Peyton Turner, the background there. I even at the trade deadline, I tried to look into him, and I kind of like thought about it. The background, the size, the length. He's a young player. He's coming off the rookie deal. He just doesn't bring any juice as a pass rusher. Like, I don't ever feel his presence as a pass rusher. It definitely has not connected at all in the NFL for him. Not to say that it can't. He's definitely in line to getting like a minimum or very cheap type of deal, I think, this offseason. I think if anybody pays him much more than that, they're kind of crazy. Still would be a path. Prototype would be a path. I just have felt no juice every time I've watched him. But, no, truly, if Keon White was traded here, tears would be shed, man. Bro, Keon White was amazing watching at Georgia Tech. I remember loving Keon. I think we actually did a video on Keon White, so we could probably just go to that. I know he's at least in one of my mocks. I remember laying on the floor. I remember that. I remember laying on the floor in the living room watching Keon White. He used to be like, this guy. This guy's amazing. He was all over the place, but he's amazing. He's so fun to watch. And he's been so good. Like, he was amazing for New England. Wait, is there really buzz about him being traded? Now y'all making me believe something. Hold up. Don't let this happen, please. Like, this is the move I'm talking about. Keon White was the lone bright spot where he can carry a pass. The Patriots need to help him and get back to opposing the quarterback. Okay. It doesn't sound like a trade thing there. It'll be interesting. Mike Vrabel addresses the Patriots defense. Their starting lineup only needs another outside corner, assuming Keon White's the top pass rusher. Man, see, like, I don't see nothing. Patriots get horrible Keon White. No, what is this stuff? All right, I don't know where this is coming from, but if this is a thing, please send me all the rumors. Please send me all of them. You know what I mean? Let me believe in it for like a minute. Please send me all the rumors on that. Out of those three, though, no, truly, like where Troy Hill is at age-wise and Josh John, I'd go Peyton Turner. I just haven't seen it at all. That's the problem. Keon White's would be amazing. He'd be so amazing. Is there rumors on this? Is that why you're saying this? Or are you just saying like, oh, just go trade for him because Mike Vrabel's in there, that kind of thing? I'm with it either way. Okay, we got about 20 minutes until free agency kicks off. So I'm going to let y'all decide. Do y'all want me to do, because I gotta be out by 1. Because 1 o'clock is they're gonna have us get over there and get prepped for the show. Do y'all want me to be live for the like first hour, or should we not be live and me kind of just wait, see if something goes down within the first hour, and then post a video on something goes down. Because if something goes down that I don't have insight on, like they sign a player that I don't know, I could just be sitting here. I'm gonna be honest. It'd be a fun, no real rumor. Okay, I'm with it though. Like honestly, I'm with it. X being down the biggest day of the. Okay, stay live. All right, let's go live. So I wanna show this real quick because we did have a. If y'all got anything, man, X is down, which kind of puts us in a bad spot for news, But if y'all get anything, feel free to send it over. Y'all see any rumors? Honestly, Instagram might be the spot for rumors, for buzz and rumors. That might be where we need to look. Are y'all sure X is still down? I think mine's working. With AG gone, that helps. Dang. So I think the Saints players at least know our current defense. Oh, right. No, look, man, I'm with you on that. I'm with you from that. Coach Stein. I appreciate you stopping in, Coach Stein. IG. See, you might have to use IG. At least on the browser, my X is down. Live on Bleacher Report. We're going to be live on Bleacher Report at 1 o'clock. Or 1:30 to 4:30. Hey, Bleacher Report might be the thing to use for rumors. Maybe we use that. I actually don't know how I would do that because I've never done. Mine is definitely down. My X is definitely down. I wanted to find the Sedarius Smith thing. Let me just pull it up. Because there was the post. Let me see. I can't find the post. There was a post that he made. I wanted to show it. Is the beat still playing, by the way? I kind of forgot that was on. So that might be kind of loud. I might have to switch my headset over because that thing might be loud. Do you still think we get a corner in free agency, or do we just draft a backup? I think we're more likely to sign a corner in free agency. I think we might do both. Like, right? I think both is definitely possible. But I think it'd be more likely that we sign a free agent corner. I think that's a good spot to go corner. I think corner's really strong this year. I think there's a lot of different types. There's a lot of different price points we can go at. So I think corner for free agency makes a lot of sense. Plus, I think it's kind of weird doing it in the draft because then without saying, you're indirectly saying we have to take a corner. But then also on top of that, like even if you did say you had to take a corner, you're relying on a rookie for depth, which is, I don't think it's ever an ideal spot. Did you see that Zarius bought a Lions Super Ring? I did not see. That's crazy. All right, I did not see that. That is crazy though. I wish it was real. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he posted this. Oh, so he posted this way longer, or yeah, longer than I thought. Look at that. He put, "Thank you, Detroit." Is this? He posted this on. He posted this like 24 hours ago, though. Yo, so hold up. Time out. If he posted this 24 hours ago, this would have been like right after the cut. It still tells me that there probably wasn't a conversation of him returning. But if there is a chance that he returns, like him posting this very shortly after the cut makes it make more sense than him. I thought he posted that this morning. I thought he went on this morning and said, "Thank you, Detroit." And then I was like, oh, dang. Okay, well, he's definitely not coming back. If he said that this morning, they know that he's not coming back. I don't know, man. I'm going to check it out, though, because y'all are saying he put a ring up or posted a picture of a ring. Yeah, he posted that 21 hours ago. And it was just a lot of pictures of him. Is that the ring? I don't know. I don't know. Marcus Davenport's live at the podium. Oh, that's pretty far. Are you serious? You can watch that. Landry signed with the Patriots already. Landry signed with the Patriots? It's not even noon yet. And he can. I'm cool with that. You know what I mean? We don't need to do that. Oh, shoot. Okay, I'm going to have to switch my my headset over. Let me know if my thing goes out when I do this. It probably will. We'll just see. Yo, it didn't go out yet. Oh, snap. He is live. It didn't go out yet. Oh, I missed a dono. Oh, man, Coach Stein. I haven't missed a video in years. Keep grinding, man. Yeah, in years? Am I saying it right? Is it Stein or is it Steen? By the way, I appreciate what you with the 20 piece, man. Thank you. And, man, that's awesome because we've done a lot of different things. So that's amazing, man. I appreciate it. Okay, actually, I can hear the beat now. That's positive. Will I be able to hear the volume of this? Probably not, because that's how it usually goes. But if we can't, I can just switch it over to a different browser, and maybe that'll work. Let's see. Oh, shoot. Okay.
Describe that.
Actually, I don't
because
even
I feel like coming in and being introduced.
Wait a second. I got to turn the beat off. Okay.
Thought maybe it might be different when I got here.
Vikings are hosting Jonathan Allen for a visit. They have Jerry Tillery as a free agent this offseason. So they that does make sense. I like Jerry Tillery too, by the way. But they're pretty light on D line. They all want defensive line.
He gets the most out of his players.
Is it working out?
That's something you can respect.
Watching them, continue to push through all the different injuries as well. And where do you see yourself, helping, man? Now that you're able to get back out there.
It was horrible. Another year of sitting out and being sidelined so early, and then just having to look at my guys take up the load that I was supposed to carry. Where do I see myself?
Y'all can hear this?
I would say with this many setbacks, I had to focus on my day, so I'm just trying to do everything I can right now to be ready and prepared for them.
Big impact, obviously, each other last year. Obviously, didn't happen because of the.
Let's go, baby. We never can hear it. That's fantastic. Okay.
With Aiden, what do you think you two on the edge can do? We saw it.
Come on, man.
Some short glimpses.
Not the StreamYard with the updates.
How excited are you to kind of show fans that tandem can be what you guys thought it would be last year?
Man, you got that before I did the Jonathan Allen thing. I just got that.
For some reason,
good amount of
interest.
interest.
I think of that kind of situation.
We'll get
I kind of shy back because I need to get on the field first. I need to prove myself as a healthy component, and everything else I think will fall in place. But once I prove it to myself, then everything else I think should take care of itself.
Yo, that jacket's kind of clean though.
What's the challenge in trying to recover your form?
I hope so too, man.
2021,
you know what I mean?
2022, having missed so much time.
Hey, he don't have a brace on or nothing though. You know what I mean? That tricep. I can tell he got the jacket on, but he must be feeling good. He's leaning on it.
I'd say the biggest thing, especially from missing these years, it would be consistency in work. And I think going into the season last year, they were able to give me consistent snaps and then build upon that. And then by the time the first game came around, I felt a whole lot better. And then after the injury, I just know that the only thing that can make me feel better at this point is reps. And just from there, I think, that's really all.
Yo, this is wild. Are they going to do this with every free agent? This feels kind of random.
Just your maybe initial impressions of what you're getting there in that room.
I'm about to go talk to him right now.
Come back.
Yeah.
How are you feeling injury-wise? All set for the offseason?
Yo, I think Casey Rogers is fired up about this dude, though. I got to be honest, man.
Pretty much on track. Pretty much in my strengthening phase right now, and then back with the strength staff. So getting a routine is great, and I think that makes me feel so much better. So.
KV Alto with the 12 piece.
Tell
Tell me he don't look like
What do you like about that?
Cuba Gooding Jr. I don't even know who that is.
Accountability.
I gotta look that up. I don't know.
I would say that's where I think their intensity lies, and when you can see someone that is accountable not only to the player or to themselves, but to their players.
He kind of do.
It translates.
Like an older
it
version.
Makes you, I don't know.
Oh, he's from
receptive, and so just.
Oh no, that's
from seeing him, watching him.
I'm gonna be honest. That's not a bad call, man. He kind of does look like that a little bit. Even the younger version, like he kind of do look like that.
The mindset going into the next season.
Okay, KV Alto, I see you. I
would say today is Monday.
Okay.
Man, like Friday, I faltered. Friday, I was out there struggling, but I would say the thing that helps me so much is just, sometimes I talk to my dad and he reminds me my biggest job is to raise my little ones, be there for them. All this is a bonus. All this I'm very lucky to do.
Oh, he's definitely in his prime.
So,
his prime is just unfortunately
for
injured.
some reason, when I get in the car and I leave and I'm driving, it's like something turns on that I got to go to work. I got to go make it happen. And so that's all that really matters is me making it happen.
Am I the only one that thinks him having that thing in his nose makes him like a little bit more like scary as a defensive lineman? Like I feel like a dude that pulls up with the like that bull ring, yo, like, you don't want that smoke as a tackle. Like he might just add that there for the intimidation factor. He might not even like wearing that thing, but it's like if I just leave this in, he might be able to not even be able to get it out. It might be stuck. But it's a little bit scary for an offensive lineman.
That I got to prove it to other people or, you know, whoever the fans. But I don't know. I don't really want to leave, you know, or wouldn't want to leave without being the person that, you know, they can rely on.
Okay.
Season, I mean, you were incredibly banged up. I think we read some of just about all the offseason procedures you had to go through. You came back last year, and when you got to camp, you did look rejuvenated, refreshed. We could see it on the practice field. Maybe that's the silver lining to having some time off.
Yo, I thought about this. This is the way that I'm looking at it, right?
Right now.
I'm gonna tell you in a second.
I would say
Let him answer this.
with this training staff, with the weight staff, I feel like, you know, at my best, especially what we've been able to do, my body feels amazing. But I know they're like silver linings or blessings, but I don't know. Most of the time, I can't even think that far. You know, I try to stay such in my day that I can keep moving forward.
Okay. He's chill, man.
When did you reach that decision? Was that last season? Was that when the season?
Okay, here. This is a good question. I like this. This is a good question.
That crystallized in your mind.
I want to say pretty much when I got hurt.
Yeah, that's tough.
I would say there hasn't been much doubt on where I wanted to be. And I just really wanted the opportunity, you know? And, you know, sometimes we talk about testing the market. It sounds bad. I hope they don't take anything away from me, but I didn't care. I just want to play.
Yo, what? He didn't care?
You know,
Hey, his market, don't know how strong it would have been. This is probably about right. So I think this is a fair contract because this, yeah, this feels like a fair number for what he probably would have gotten. But I like it. He wants to be here. I like it.
That's funny. I had a couple neighbors that were like, "That was a dirty play." Like,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm like, no, it's not. They're like, we saw the play, and I mean, it's a normal football play. Like, you know, if he didn't do that, I don't think, like, I think in that situation, that's something you have to do. You know, get the man off you. It is what it is.
Whoa,
So I think we're done, right?
What's he drinking though? What is he drinking? What is that? Is that green Gatorade? All right, I don't know what he's drinking. Is that the last one? Oh, there's another one. Okay. Wait, is there? Oh, maybe not. We showed that play, and it does look messed up, right? But like, I always think that when I look at it too, like, yo, I could see how people get fired up about this, but this is like always, it's weird because you praise it when you see it from an offensive lineman, like, oh, that's a good play, a little chop down, finishing move, like that's a good play. But when you see it and it's like that's where he got hurt, you're like, oh, dang, dude, you shouldn't have done that. You were doing too much. So I actually understand people coming from that, but you know, it is a football play. That said, though, I was thinking about this right after the deal went down, maybe right after I recorded that video, and I was like walking because I was like editing and I was walking around and I was like, from the Lions' perspective, if you let Marcus Davenport, he said he didn't want to test the market, so this may have been more on. This is where I think the two-way street comes into play. This could have been more in his ball in his court, where he's like, yo, I want to come back. Let's get this thing done. And they were like, all right, let's get it done. Think about Amik, right? They said Amik basically pressed the issue. Let's get this thing done. So you wonder that Barnes probably did the same thing. I don't think we've heard from Barnes yet, but my sense would be he probably thought the same way. Like Barnes, like, I want to get this done. I want to be here. I'm coming off an injury, that kind of thing. And we could see that by the way he was playing. But even if he did test the market, like the idea of, I think if you look at it from the Lions' perspective, if I put myself in Brad Holmes' shoes, and I knew that I let, say, Davenport sign elsewhere, 1 year, $5 million. Say that was the contract. If I let him go elsewhere and sign that deal, knowing that, like, look, I know in my heart, if this guy's healthy, he's going to be a good player. Like, I'm very confident he's a good player as long as he's on the field. And knowing he's not, like, coming off an injury that was the same injury from the year before, it's like, oh, this might be a problem, and there might not be any way to fix this. And he goes out next season, and he plays 13 games, and he's good in those 13 games, and he has a productive season. He puts 6 sacks together. He puts 45 pressures. I would sit there like, what am I doing? I would be I thought of this like you don't want to act, I feel like in free agency in fear. Like you don't want to like, oh, I got to sign this guy because what if he is good? Like that's the challenge. You don't want to make moves because of that. But I think there is something of like I don't want to like let him go knowing I let go of a player that is good as long as he's on the field. And I know he's good for our defense as long as he's on the field. And just know that I let him go just because he didn't play last season. You know what I mean? Like I would like feel that the whole season long. I think in some way, like as I'm watching him elsewhere, and that if he's productive, like, yo, why didn't I just bring him back? Like it wasn't that big of a risk. It was 1 year up to 4 points. We don't know the details. I think on the contract, but that's all it was. And I just let him leave. Like, man, why'd I do that? Now, if I had to give him, a ton of money guaranteed or like a 2-year, 3-year D contract, that's like it's different. But especially if he wants to come back, like why did I not do that? Why would I not? I know it's going to work. I just have to have him here. So Barnes did have one earlier. We have some time. It's not noon yet, but it's about to be noon. So we're going to jump to that in a second. But Barnes spoke to the media. So I want to check this out. It's 13 minutes. We don't have to watch the whole thing. I want to check this out. And then as news starts piling in, we will start reacting to that. X looks like it's back up and running. So that's good.
I was saying,
My
by
goodness,
thanking,
wow,
Brad, Dan, and Sheila, my beautiful family, my beautiful wife. I wouldn't be here without, any of those guys.
He was
thank God this is a blessing for me.
It's all about coming back. Plus, I like the hoodie, though.
It's amazing to be able to be.
It's got flowers on it. It's got flowers on it. I didn't notice.
Back here. I'm blessed to be back here. This is where I wanted to be.
And we do have a rotation now, to your point, Dave. Like him and Pascal kind of can play the same position. Now, in pass downs, I think the value is you can leave Davenport wide, and Pascal's better from the inside by far. But like to your point, like on base downs, like yeah, those two are kind of can play the same role.
When it came down to it, I was.
Like, we legitimately have a really good starting unit right now in the front seven. Really good. If you came in week one, you're like, yeah, these guys are gonna play week one. You'd be like, that's a really good starting seven. We know the only guy that kind of jumps out of that lane likely is going to be Liam McNeil because of the injury. But like on paper, you're in a really strong spot. And we did that when I put that list together. I was like, there's a lot of spots I'm just putting depth or like competition. I'm not like truly saying like, oh, we need to get the starter here because it feels like a lot of spots we actually do have our starters. They're capable of being starters. See, I think that's the difference. There's one thing of like injury. There's another thing of if he is healthy, he is a starting level player. It's just, is he going to be there? Like, I think there's a difference between the two.
Tell my agent, like, I want to go back home. I want to be in Detroit. That's where I belong. And
see, there you go.
We're building here. I'm blessed to be back here. This is where I wanted to be. When it came down to it, I was telling my agent, like, I want to go back home. I want to be in Detroit. That's where I belong. And we're building something great, and we're continuing to build something great. And I want to be a part of it. So
you didn't want to leave, bro. Derek Barnes did not want to leave. They took care of Derek Barnes. And I don't think that either of these deals, like, we're getting numbers early. We'll see how it all shakes out. But my guess is neither of these deals are going to look weird when the market set. It's not going to look like, man, the Lions got a steal. Like, because Derek Barnes doesn't feel like a steal. But it's also not going to look like, yo, Lions really overpaid him because of where the market's at. I think both of them are going to kind of fall. Like, that makes sense. Both these two contracts make sense on both sides. So I don't think either side really even feels like they got and we'll see how the contract details look. I don't think for either side looks like they won like the contract necessarily. But they got it done because seemingly both sides just wanted to get it done. And they didn't want to care about what the market value was or whatever, or what extra couple million they could grab, make to win on the market right now. It's just they wanted to be here. And that's not to say maybe a Levi or if he does want to be here, but I think that they have such a weird market where there's not really a known at all with what those guys. So I think that they just want to see what someone's willing to pay them.
Yeah.
Aaron Glenn's obviously in New York, it's relative in New England.
I hope he comes back.
Just why was this?
Chances of getting Trey Henderson? I'd give it a 2.
I just feel like there's unfinished work, unfinished business here to do.
We have the capital.
We didn't make it as far as we wanted to last year, but years to come of great football and to get what we really want, and we all know what that is. And it's just, my teammates, the coaches, the culture that we built here, from the training staff to the strength and conditioning staff to the people upstairs. I feel like everything is put together, and I don't think you can find that in other places. Like I said, again, we're building something great here, and I want to be a part of that. So.
One of your biggest advocates in this organization has been Shep. To see him go to that DC role, how impactful was that in you wanting to be back here?
Oh man, it's amazing. But I mean, like you all know, like we seen that coming with him. Passionate about the game, love the play.
The free agency is kicking off. My ex is dead, bro. Like it's not working at all. Is your guys' X accounts working? I think Charles got like that NASA Wi-Fi or something, bro. His thing is connected. My thing is like halfway connected. Like it's telling me I have alerts, but it's not opening. Josh Allen did get paid $330 million. Dude got locked up, but the 6 years is wild. 6 years, man. They locked him in. But I don't think mine's working at all. I don't think I'm getting updates. Like on either phone or on desktop. Yeah, I'm not getting nothing. So what's on your mind today, John Simpson? All right. What was the point of posting that, John Simpson? All right. Because you're under contract for real? Yeah, dude, I don't think I'm going to be able to see anything. We're going to have to go somewhere else. Maybe there's an update tracker. Maybe that's what we can follow on. Free agency update tracker. Haven't had Twitter since 2018. Oh, you dropped off. Is that when they switched? Is there any free agent quarterback you like that you would sign? It's a good question. I honestly haven't looked too much at the free agent quarterbacks. Let me see. Maybe I have. Let me see. But I'm going to check and see if we can grab like a tracker in the meantime, because they're going to have to get this news out there somewhere. It's going to be posted on like some social media. So we should still be able to get stuff, even if it's crazy how much we just use X. Isn't that nuts? Like X has become the source for football news. Which reports the tracker? All right, we'll use that. We will use that. Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance. Trey Lance a free agent now? Man, what a mess that was. Drew Lock. I like Drew Lock. Mariota's always interesting. Taylor Heineke. Actually, there's some nice backup quarterbacks, man. Mac Jones is a free agent. Mac Jones was a mess last year, but he is a free agent. Carson Wentz, Jimmy G. Jameis Winston would be so fun. I don't really want him, but he'd be so fun. There's some dudes, man. Tyler Huntley. Oh, boy. Tim Boyle's a free agent too, guys. Hey, we might have to, you know what I mean? Run it back. I know if there is one thing that would get the fan base pretty excited, that would be the move. I got to be honest. Like, that would be the move that would get people pretty excited. Okay, so we do have a tracker. Y'all are throwing stuff in here. Hassan Reddick to the Bucks. I could see that. That makes sense. Does that happen? So I don't know how updated this is. Evan Brown. I didn't know this happened. Evan Brown signed a 2-year contract with the Cardinals. He's been good with the Cardinals, man. I didn't think the Lions would go this route because they're kind of looking for a guard, but he's been good with the Cardinals, and they have a lot of openings. They have a lot of openings on offensive line. So this must be pretty updated. That must be the latest news, is that Evan Brown is re-signing with the Arizona Cardinals. And Khalil Mack has signed with the Chargers. We saw that. Ben Bredesen, man, I'm pretty surprised. This must be a cheap contract. 3-year, $22 million. Okay. I think he was definitely their worst offensive lineman last year, but this means that it's not like a pressing need anymore at all for them when it comes to the draft. J.C. Horn got the big deal. Who would have thought that would have happened like a year ago? Braden Smith came back. DJ Jones re-signs with the Broncos. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah, no, I did see that. Okay, I was thinking somebody else. I saw this morning. I was asking our Patriots guy about him. What about for the Lions? He hasn't really popped very much. Minshew, though, I mess with Minshew. It's just it's the fact that he was taking snaps away from my guy AOC disappoints me. That's disappointing. Is this the tracker y'all are talking about? This one? This must be. I had a Twitter and quit before Elon bought it. Okay. Honestly, yeah. I mean, the only thing I use it for now is PFF has one. The only thing I use it for is news. Okay, I don't think I want to use this. This doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. I guess we'll use this one. I think this is the best tracker. Thing is, I don't know if it's going to update on its own, which is the problem. Let's kind of run down it though, and then we should. The only thing that what X gives you is rumors. That's the best thing that X gives you. That's why it's nice. Let's get a beat going too. One thing I don't like about watching Network's probably better. Like, they like skip up on some of the little news. Like they'll just pass on things. John Bates resigns with the Commanders. Adam Butler with the Raiders. Okay, this must have been pretty recent. I thought he was available. This was a big one last night. Now I have a hot take because we had to come up with hot takes for our Bleacher Report show today. This was not my hot take, by the way, and it's good it wasn't, because if it was, it would have thrown my thing. But my hot take actually included, and I sent it in before this went down. It actually included the Steelers. So if y'all tune in, one of our segments is we have to do hot takes, basically. I had 3 of them. They only want 1, but my 1 does tie in the Steelers, and I know the truth be rocking with the Steelers. It's gonna be a good hot take. I think you're gonna like it. Definitely a hot take though. But this is a pretty wild trade last night. What did he go for actually? Oh, it was a second and they swapped. That feels like a reasonable price point. That feels reasonable. Seattle's in a weird spot though. I can see why they did it, but man, Seattle is in a weird spot. Josh Allen historic deal. But 330 million, I guess 250 million guaranteed's a lot. Like that's but 330 million for 6 years. Like it's not crazy, is it? Like what is that? Like 55 million a year? Something in that range? $55 million. Yes, it's 55 million. Okay, I mean like that's understandable. I feel like they got him in a good spot there because they got him for 6 years. Not fantastic. Yeah, hey, you're gonna like my bull. You're gonna like my hot take. Then the truth, you're gonna like it. You're gonna like it, man. You need to check it out. And if you don't, I'll tell you afterward because I don't want to spoil it. With beats. Oh, the beat's tough too. The beat's tough. This is just a good time. Jarrett Stidham re-signs with the Broncos. Shout out to Jarrett Stidham, man. Jamie and Sherwood. I think that happened this morning too. Maybe that was last night. Jets fans love Jamie and Sherwood. They gave him a lot of money. Man. Austin Hooper, that went down last night. Big move. Honestly, for the tight end market, it's kind of a big move. Patriots love their tight ends. Devontae Adams with the Rams. Yeah, how do we feel about this, yo? Grade this one. Devontae to the Rams. I got to be honest, I think this is an amazing signing. Like when I saw I thought this was a great move. I think they're moving off Cooper Kupp. I think they're going to cut him. It's a lot of money, $23 million. I'm sure it's probably more like a 1-year deal, but $26 million guaranteed is going to leave some real dead cap next year. This is like a win now move for sure. I think it's a good pickup though. I mean, we know who their number 1 is. Puka's fantastic. I think this is a good pickup for him. He said he wanted to stay on the West Coast. But I think it's better that he's not following Aaron Rodgers. For him, personally, I think it's way better that he's not just following Aaron Rodgers. Harold Landry signs with the Patriots. Wait, so this just happened? Why are people throwing that in the chat? Is this new? Now I'm a little confused. Ernest Jones signs extension. Wait a second. Harold Landry signs with the Patriots. Okay, so maybe this isn't new. NFL Network reporting X is down. Snap. I want to see Dose as out if we get Hendrickson. I definitely will. I definitely will if we get Hendrickson today. But yeah, man. Let me do this real quick too. New England Patriots signing Harold Landry to a 3-year, $43 million deal. See, this does make sense though for them. But this what the heck? This does make sense for New England. This is the kind of player. He doesn't bring a much pass rush, but is Anthony Jennings still on their team? I think they still have Anthony Jennings. This is the kind of guy that they would go after. This makes sense. I mean, it's Mike Vrabel too, so obviously he's going to go after his guy. This makes sense for them. He just doesn't bring up a ton of pass rush. I feel like I would not have been happy if the Lions gave him 3 years, $43 million. I would have been like, what are we doing? Especially after the Barnes deal. Again, before the Barnes deal, that's fine. Then the comparison would have been Harold Landry versus Barnes. I would have rather had Barnes because Barnes is a Lion, and I think that his flexibility makes more sense than Landry. For them, it makes sense. But to me, seeing that deal definitely would have made. I think it would have been a terrible signing for the Lions at that point, especially after bringing in Barnes. Godwin back to the Bucks, 3 years, $66 million. I did not see that. That means the receiver market is really depleted because it got depleted fast. Teams are trading. That may continue with that happening. But you're saying Godwin to the Bucks. The Bucks are just keeping everybody. If we get trade, then nobody is coming close to the sacks Detroit will have. I would love to see. Oh, okay. I already read that. 49ers back with quarterback Jalen Moore, 2 years, $30 million with KC. What? Oh, left tackle. Okay. Left tackle, not quarterback. That makes more sense. It's like, what? Okay. So are these the new moves or are these the old moves? I'm kind of confused. Cody Ford resigns. Aaron Jones comes back to Vikings. That was yesterday. Nick Bolton was yesterday. Jaron Reed was 2 days ago. Let me refresh this. I can't tell if this is going. Wait. What direction is this thing moving? Evan Brown. Oh, this just moves it by 1. I don't think this thing's updated either. This is updated. Okay, wait a second. But yeah, I did not see that move. Got him going back. 66 million is a lot. Okay, I think X is working now, by the way. At least it's trying to work. So my X account is working now. Hassan Reddick, 1-year deal, 14 million with the Buccaneers. 12 million guaranteed. I'm not mad at the 1-year deal. Honestly, if the Lions would have gave a 1-year deal to Hassan Reddick, I wouldn't be mad at it. I'm just not as big as a Reddick guy. 14 million. I think just the 14 million just tells you how valuable edge rushers are. I think that he gets $14 million. I mean, dude, I don't know, man. It just tells you. Let's go to this. Was that the first domino? I feel like X is trying to work. It's just working really slow. Can't wait. Free agency comes next April. What? Okay, now it's all coming in. 49ers offensive tackle Jalen Moore reached an agreement on a 2-year, $30 million deal with the Kansas City Chiefs. So they basically took the money they got from Tooney and sent it over there. Sent it to a tackle. It's not a bad decision. They needed that. I don't really know much about Jalen Moore, to be honest with you. Honestly, don't even know. I don't know anything about him. Is that a good player? I mean, that's not a price point that tells you that he was great. I don't think I know anything about Jalen Moore, though. Grady Jarrett got released. Mack resigns. Evan Ingram's visit to the Denver Broncos. Ooh, see, that'd be interesting. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Because that's what they're looking for. That dude, and that'd be a good fit for them. The dude was stuck behind Trent Williams. See, that makes sense. But was he playing right tackle? Like, what was he just not playing? Or was he playing through by injury? Maybe that's why I don't know who he is. Derek Barnes says he'll be ready for OTAs this year. Derek Barnes is going to be good to go. Now, Derek Barnes had to get some things cleaned up. That's probably the early timeline, so I won't book that, because he did have to get things cleaned up, but he didn't have to have, the full ACL surgery. So OTAs are a little bit later in the process too. Breaking: Seahawks are trading DK Metcalf. I think the news we're getting is old. We might have to just pull the film, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, trying to look at this news stuff is crazy. This thing doesn't want to load at all. I'm gonna look it up actually, because Jalen Moore. I'm gonna look up who Jalen Moore guy is. Ronnie Stanley did get extended. I'm wondering about the Patriots too. Like where the Patriots are going to throw their money. They might go interior. There's some good interior offensive linemen at the top if you want to pay for it. So Jalen Moore played 260 snaps last year. 220. So he is. That might be a sneaky signing. The Chiefs are smart, man. The Chiefs are smart, bro, because they're not swinging after an O-lineman that's a starter. They're just going for a straight backup. At 27 years old. Oh, Western Michigan. Okay, I do remember him. That's a young lineman then. Wasn't he with Pittsburgh? Or no, that was Dan Moore. Dude, the Chiefs are always making moves, bro. You got to get it to the Chiefs, bro. They're smart as heck. Tyler Lockett to the Patriots. Honestly, if the Patriots signed any receiver, he'd probably start. They have their receiver core is garbage. It's garbage. But a veteran would make sense for them. I do like that. Let's see. Week 13. Chiefs and the Seahawks. San Francisco. Wow. I think they stole him, man. I'm going to be honest. Early reaction. I think the Chiefs might have just made one of the best signings that we've seen. That's crazy. Drew Dahlman, the Bears, the highest paid center. That just went down? Oh, I know Nick's fired up. He was so bad. They're shelling that money out, though, for offensive linemen. Dang. That just went down? Dan Moore. Dude, straight trash. Yo, okay. Okay. So definitely a gap here, huh? Second highest paid. Do we know the number? We're gonna have to check on that. I think the Chiefs stole this guy, bro. Wait, well, why was the whole conversation? So he must not be able to play right tackle then, because the whole conversation is like, yo, go draft a back tackle. I guess because he's a free agent. Maybe that's why. Like, why was he not playing right tackle? Because McKivitz wasn't that good. He must just been able to not play anywhere else. It's like the perfect time to scoop in and sign him. Wow. Okay. Good job, Chiefs. Feels like. Let's check it out. Let's see if we got the Bears signing here. Number won't load for you. Sorry, bro. Yeah. X is struggling. That's real. No, I get that. Hey, it's all good. We can use context clues to figure it out. That's what we'll do. I feel like hey, yo, this is straight the worst free agency, bro. Nobody can tell what's going on. I don't think any of these trackers are working, bro. Straight up. I'm looking at these things are old, man. Chiefs bring in protection for Mahomes. Chances to start at a tackle. And that's weird too, because they did draft a tackle last year. So I guess at that price point, both, he may not have to start. But it feels like he's going to start. Feels like he's going to. Unless what is it, Kingsley? Is it Kingsley their backup? Unless he takes a big jump. I got to see how much money the Bears got tied up for their offensive line. They're not paying their right tackle. I'm telling you what the Bears are going to do, man. They're going to go back in the draft and they're going to go sign, or their first pick is going to be an offensive tackle. They're going to draft their left tackle with their first pick. I think they'll go like a Kelvin Banks out of Texas if he's there. And they're going to completely try to flip that offensive line in one offseason. I mean, they've done it with 3 players now. And 2 of the 3 we know are very good players. One, Jonah Jackson, is a good player. Overpaid, though. But they have the money to do it, so they're not shy at all. They're just spending all the money. I wonder if offensive line is one of those spots so you could definitely make the case like it's okay to overspend. Twitter is broken right now. Yeah, Twitter's messed up, dude. I'm not even sure what we're looking at here. Like there's trackers, but I don't think anybody's updating anything. Or they are, but it's late because they can't. Nobody's getting news. Yo, Adam Schefter needs to move to Instagram, bro. What do we that's what we need. Everybody needs to just slide over to Instagram for a few minutes. Dude, we're getting like no updates here. Cool, man. I just hope they don't draft Genty. I think they're gonna go real basic. But it's possible. It's possible. I think it's just gonna be like how Ben Johnson feels about Swift. Swift was really good though last year. I think Swift had his best season we've ever seen Swift have last season. I thought he was great. So I don't think they're gonna touch on it. And if Ben Johnson liked Swift, right, like they could just flip that offensive line. How about Adam Schefter just be on your show and just announce it here live? No, dude, I didn't even think of that. I didn't even think about texting him before we got on here. That's a good point. I can tell you know what? Jesse Palmer is going to be on our Bleacher Report show. That's good enough for me, man. He'll have the inside scoop. I don't know where he gets it from, but these dudes got their contacts, man. So, well, I'll have somebody, but I won't be him. But that is a good point. Maybe next year I'll think about that. Let me just hit up Adam Schefter. Okay, I think I finally found Bleacher Report's tracker, and this looks pretty good. They look like their X account is working. Here we go. So they have the Drew Dahlman thing, 3 or 42 million. That's not that bad. 3 or 42 million isn't that expensive. 28 guaranteed. Dahlman's considered the top center. He was considered the top center. Center was pretty weak in free agency. That's not a crazy price though. So that's I don't know. I feel like the moves the Bears have made are pretty straightforward. Nothing really shocking here so far, but that's kind of where they're at right now. They have to be pretty straightforward. This is the news we were looking for though. J.K. Scott, 2 years, $6 million with the Chargers. That's the move that we were all waiting for. And then we had Godwin. Tampa Bay bringing back Chris Godwin, 3 years, $6 million. The deal, $44 million guaranteed. Can reach a max of $72 million. This guy's always injured, but Hughes could have potentially been the most expensive. He probably was based on that price point. He might have figured out real quick what his value was. I want to see where Dahlman falls with that deal. Because Dahlman only played 550 snaps last year. He played 550 snaps. He was out from week 4 to week 12. I don't know what his injury was, but he played he's been a good player. So it looks like he's a really good run blocker. Dahlman injury. Pass pro will be the question. But that's why the price point is what it is. That's why it's not like way more expensive than that. Because that's not a super crazy contract. Falcons think they have a shot at re-signing him. He suffered an ankle injury. Bro, this is free agency for you, bro. Everybody dealing with injuries. Everybody's hurt. I wouldn't be shocked if the Falcons find a way to keep Drew Dahlman. Hey, that was Jesse Palmer that tweeted that. Well, he was incorrect about that one. Well, I won't say he was incorrect, but he said that they have a shot. He has a really strong market, but Atlanta thinks they have a shot to keep him. Let's see if they can make it happen. Yeah, that did not happen. And that happened very fast, too. But Palmer tweeted that. That's who we're going to be with today. Yeah, the Saints guy wasn't that good last season as a man corner, but his D line was trash. Adebo, he's kind of an upside guy. We can go that route. I mean, it's a chance to get him on a cheaper price because of it. He went on IR last year. Missed a lot of time. Okay, with that. Paulson, Debo, or Slay if Carlton leaves? I'd take Paulson over him. He's a better fit than Slay. He's a better fit than Slay. But like I said, I like Mike Hilton. I think the Lions should, and I think they will. I think they'll look into Mike Hilton. They could get their slot corner, plug him in, let Amik Robertson play out wide. I think that's a real possibility. That's probably my top corner right now, based on watching him this morning. Like I think that's a super interesting option. But Adebo feels more cookie cutter. And that's okay. right? Like he was. I remember he's a big physical corner coming out of Stanford, which I wonder if there's a little bit of an overlap there, to be honest with you. With I mean, I don't know how much it matters, but our new coach from Stanford maybe was there at the same time. Wonder if that's true. It sounds like it may have been true actually. Now that I'm thinking about it, that there been an overlap with Shaw at Stanford. 'Cause he was there. Yeah, he might be. Size, length, that kind of thing. You think we bring back Mosley? I do not. I don't think we do. Darius Slay. Yeah, I did a full video on Slay. Now you can check that out if you want. I think Slay's still a good corner. I think he signs a 1-year deal. I think he gets a Stephon Gilmore type of contract. But I also think that Darius Slay is not the perfect schematic fit. I think he's more of an off corner. I don't think he searches contact against the run. I think he can tackle. I just don't think he looks for it. And I think he's more of a, like I said, off cover. I think he's more of an instinctual playmaker at the catch point. There's always value in those guys. And I wouldn't be mad at having him back. But I don't know that he's the style they're looking for. Boston Adebo is probably closer to the style than he is. We need pass rush. We do, but we need it. Look, man, we need interior defensive line help. That's my number one need. Like I said, if we came in next year and the 7 that we have were starting because they were healthy, we'd have a really good front 7. We need depth. That's what we need. We need depth. The whole thing of pass rush to me is always overblown, but I think every team looks at it the same way. We need to stop the run first and foremost. That's what we need to do. We need to get better at stopping the run. And we do need pass rush help because Aleem Neal's going to miss the beginning of the season, and because Davenport, we're not sure if he's going to be healthy, unfortunately. If we knew they were going to be healthy, we'd be fine, but we don't know that. So because of that reason, we do need depth inside and outside. But I think every team looks at it like that. And Brad Holmes did tell us he was trying to add, 3 or 4 good pass rushers. And I think in his mind, adding Davenport is one of those because he knows he's a good player as long as he's healthy. So I think he counts that as one. I think he'll come back in the draft and he'll add at least 1, probably 2, an interior and probably an outside rusher. So I think that gets you to 3, which means that in free agency, I think we're going to see at least 1 more good interior defensive lineman or good edge rusher added. Probably more likely interior because I think they need a little bit more of a proven piece right now, knowing that Aleem's going to miss the beginning of the season, and a guy that could play nose tackle or can technique. We could use both of those. We could add 2 guys on the inside in free agency. And I wouldn't be mad about that. Abdul Carter line would be a dream. They would have to give so much to make that happen. But look, man, edge is good this year, and there's a lot of different types. I hear what you're saying, but it is a good year to need edge, which is usually not the case, to be honest with you. It's usually not like this, but it is a good year. Jonathan Allen, it sounds like he's visiting with Minnesota. He was on my honorable mentions of new guys that got released. I'm okay with Jonathan Allen. I'd be okay with it. I just don't trust him against the run at all. I'd rather go Hargrave because I think he gives you a better ceiling as a pass rusher, even though he's not a great run defender either. I think he brings a much higher ceiling as a pass rusher, and we've seen that. Either one I'd be okay with. I don't know that I'd love either one, but I'll be okay with either one. Let's see if anything has went down. Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay, here we go. Elijah Mitchell to the Chiefs. Okay, so I'm glad that what I had I didn't have. I thought the Chiefs were gonna go get a guy like Nick Chubb and then they could take a swing there. But Elijah Mitchell, well, we know he's a good running back. They're going right for San Fran's guys, huh? And then Braxton Berrios to the Texans. A 1-year deal worth $2 million. And we always think the first day has to be the big deal. This is not it. Braxton Berrios. Jake Majors. I always think it's weird that he's left-handed. I'm gonna be honest. That always throws me off. I didn't think he was a day 2 guy from what I had seen, but I haven't watched enough to say that I could change my mind on that. I think I maybe went through a couple of his games. So I thought he was more of a day 3 guy. But he plays super wide. Like, he'd be a backup. He'd be a nice little backup. I could look for my notes here, though, while we're chilling. Davenport's a bet, an inexpensive one. That is it. It is a bet, right? And that's okay. That's okay. I hope we get Levi back. That's where I'm at with it still. I still want Levi back. I think it's good to draft an interior defense lineman this year, but I don't think it's in a weird spot because you don't need to go and look, if you're trying to get a starting 3 technique, you're going to have to probably move up. Like this, to be honest, or we might be able to because of where this draft is at, but Like you could go get a TJ Sanders who's a little bit undersized, someone like that, and maybe sit or potentially back up a little bit. But because you have a Lee McNeil, you don't need a long-term, like, big name interior defensive lineman. Like, you don't have to do that. But a guy that could play nose tackle as well could add value. Like a guy that could play in the inside, like a Harmon, now that's valuable. And because you have DJ Reader on the final year of his contract, there's a real value in that. And that's somewhere that you could take a big swing because, again, those guys we know aren't going to fall very far. Like they're going to be jumped on pretty quickly. But we do have the long term still intact with Lee McNeil. We just know he's going to miss some of the beginning of the season. But I think for free agency, it's got to be just raise the floor on your nose tackle, raise the floor there, and potentially try to take a swing on a vet that can get after the quarterback. That's an interior defensive lineman. Kinlaw reached an agreement with Washington. Okay. I mean, look, I'm trying to think about their defensive line last year. So they're replacing Allen, who didn't really play with Kinlaw. They do have their future interior defensive lineman there. Okay. Probably not much money, I'm going to assume. Kinlaw can't play the run. BJ Hill to the Bengals. They're bringing him back. Hey, look at that. They're bringing somebody back. 3 years, $33 million. Okay. That market is collapsing. I mean, it's like, bro, you got some vets, and then you have a lot of unproven interior defensive linemen. That market's collapsing for defensive tackle. McNeil is going to be back. I would assume at worst halfway through the season. Like, everybody's is different, I'm sure. But the ACL injury, people say a year, but he's going to get a 6-month surgery. He's going to get it because 6-month surgery is as long as they can do it. And I don't know, he already probably had that whole process. But like, say he had the surgery where he was able to use it from his own body so that his body could create the new ACL for him. That's a faster process than taking it from someone else by far. So my assumption was if that went as planned, and it probably should have, it's a 6 months injury. 6 months. It's a 6 month surgery process, but you'll want to give him time on the back end to make sure that he can ramp up because it's football and you're going to be getting hit. So I would throw a couple more months on that to be safe. That's what I would think. Kenneth Grant would be cool. I wouldn't trade up for him as of now. I don't have him in that range for me, but I like him. Luckily, this year, round 1, round 2, best player available, TT and DN. It probably will be. Yeah, that's why I'm looking at too. The odds are it's going to be that. But it may not be. Like, if those guys get pressed up, so you end up getting Matthew Golden sitting there at 28, like, he could be best player available at 28. You could have a cornerback as best player available at 28. Probably more unlikely, but you could if they value them differently. Like, I didn't think Thomas was a first-round guy. I didn't think Revel was a first-round guy. Hairston, they could look as a first round guy. I just don't know that he fits the Lions. So I don't think the odds of cornerback being their best player available is 28 is likely. Unless like Will Johnson fell and then they traded up, then maybe something like that. I personally think Brad moves back a little. Very possible. I think it's very possible. I mean, betting on him moving probably is a safe bet now. There's what kind of contract? 3 years, $45 million? Oh no, Washington is true. Heck no, bro. Heck no, dude. Okay, look, this is not good. This is not good, bro. See, this is the problem, dude. If he's making that, guys like Levi are going to be so expensive. This is why it makes sense for him to test the market. If Kinlaw is getting $45 million, dudes like Levi, bro, have to test the market. They have to go get their bread, bro, because they're about to get it. Dang. There's no shot I would have gave him $45 million. That's insane, bro. If he's that, he probably is a $20 million guy this offseason. If not, yeah, he might. Zeitler said that? When did Zeitler say that? And if he said that, he's probably about right right now. Oh, my gosh. That's horrible, man. Bro, that's horrible, man. Yeah, and those guys just aren't even available. Like the proven, like, younger players that are actually healthy. Like last year, we had a couple of them. I thought about this. Like last year was a better interior defensive line class, right? We got DJ Reader, which was great. You had Christian Wilkins, who became available, that got paid an insane amount of money that I thought was overpaid, but it was made. I mean, this is the market now for those. Wow, man. He talked about Levi and Aleem both being 20 million future guys he was going against in camp. And Levi was really last year. So, like, I get that. And I could see someone paying him that. And I think it's fair. I think it's fair. Like, the knock on Levi is the injury history. But Levi's coming off a healthy year, and he played really good. You know, he's a good player. Like, I think he was a proven good last year. So, I think it's fair. Yeah, I mean, he probably is, man. I just hate it because I think we're going to lose out on him. That's why I hate it. Because Levi can play the run and rush the passer, and he's valuable there, and he's flexible as a defensive lineman. That's the problem with Levi, man. Which Slayton? He was like, I think DJ Slayton's a free agent this year from. About him, or if you're talking about Darius Slayton, everybody brings up Darius Slayton, so they maybe talk about him. Dang, this is disappointing. This has made me sad, man. That he got this deal. Chiefs are negative $9 million. Oh boy, they're gonna have some moves coming. Wait a minute, let me see. So if he's off the board, like anybody in that range, man, that's young and has been productive is just not on the market. Levi is the best on the market. I mean, think about this, right? Your best interior defensive linemen that are available is this. Grady Jarrett, who just got released. He's 32. Sebastian Joseph, who doesn't bring a ton of upside as a pass rusher. He's 30. Jerry Tillery, who had an okay season last year. He's always been an upside guy. 29, or he's 28. And, I mean, your next best is Milton Williams, right? Milton Williams, who's going to make a ton of money. 26 years old. That means Levi is arguably the best interior defensive lineman on the market. Because Milton Williams, people forget, like Milton Williams didn't play over half the snaps. Milton played less than half their snaps last year. Last year was his breakout season. Hadn't really broke out before last year. Similarly, Levi was just hurt. Milton Williams just wasn't breaking out. But Milton Williams I've always liked. Like Milton Williams, I would have traded for him in past years, and then he broke out this year. And I'm not saying that in hindsight. Like he was on my trade deadline live streams with Bleacher Report. I've always been a fan of Milton Williams. He just hadn't been able to see the field consistently. But then he finally had his breakout year just in terms of production. Levi could be the best defensive tackle on the market. And it is his first deal. Oh my gosh, man. It's crazy. The defense tackle is just flat for free agency. You either got to go old, which Grady Jarrett's probably going to get his value pushed up pretty high, or you go with a guy that brings a little bit of one and not really the other. Or you go young and you take a guy that hasn't really put it together yet because he's probably missed a lot of time. But I think there's a few guys like that. Like the more I look at it, I think Bobby Brown's going to make a lot of money this offseason. I think he could get about $10 million a year from LA. He could get up to $10 million per season because he could play nose tackle and he can bump around. He can play a 3. And he brings a little bit of both to the table, run defense and pass rush. He might make a good amount of money in free agency. And outside of Levi, he'd probably be my top target production-wise because I think Milton Williams is going to cost too much. But if he doesn't, I mean, shoot, I'm not mad at bringing a Milton Williams either. If we want to bring a Milton, hey, you know what I mean? If we want to do it, if Levi's going to go become the highest paid defensive tackle, I'm not mad at it. I ain't mad at it. Any other moves happen? Let's see. Not yet. What time is it? 12:40. All right, we got about 20 more minutes. We got about 20 minutes, and then we'll hop off. We go to Liam. I won't be ready to start. What was Wingo's injury? I don't remember what his was. I'm not mad at um I'm not mad at Carlton Davis trying to go see what he can get paid. Like, I'm not mad at it at all. I told Easy I didn't think he'd get $20 million a year because he is going to miss 4 to 5 games this season. If he went to Jacksonville, it makes sense. Jacksonville doesn't have a number 2 corner. They kind of have a number 1 corner. Jacksonville has no identity as a team either. If I'm Jacksonville, I'm probably not paying big money for Carlton because I think we got to figure out who we are as a team. Like, I don't think I would give big money to Carlton Davis. I don't think I'd do that. But he's young enough that you could talk yourself into it. Brad Holmes seems like he's trying to play Moneyball at Super Bowl. 2-year window that's been playing around. No, I think Brad Holmes has been amazing for us. I don't think he's playing Moneyball. I think he's being smart with his money. I think he's trying to not make it a window. I think the idea of a window is what nobody wants to be in, but some people put themselves in. You avoid that by avoiding dead money. And that's giving out deals to guys that aren't going to earn the contract. Javon Kinlaw could put you in that hole, like that kind of thing. I think Brad Holmes has just been smart. I don't think it's playing Moneyball. I think he's bringing back guys that he knows can play. I mean, to start, because you got to think about it. Like, year one, we had no money to spend. So, like, legitimately, there was nothing. Year one, we had no money, and the salary cap went down. So that year was just finding a way to work out of dead cap, which was kind of year 2 as well. And then this last year, Brad Holmes spent money. He got DJ Reader on a multi-year deal. He brought in Kevin Zeitler, which was a great contract for us, which was great because he also turned around and drafted Mahogany, who now looks like a starter. Carlton Davis was a big trade that was on his final year of his contract, but he had a legitimate deal that he was coming in with a legitimate cap that had to adjust when they got him. Like, he made moves last year. He made moves. He just doesn't want to get tied because he understands that there's really 2 ways that you create a window. One, you pay a quarterback money that he shouldn't be getting paid guaranteed wise, and you get stuck with it and you have to try to move off him like the Browns, which doesn't create a window, it just destroys your franchise. Or there's the flip side, is you're paying guys that aren't going to live up to the contract, and then you have guys you're paying that aren't producing. And he feels comfortable going in the house, which most teams I feel like should. Yeah, Draymond Jones is on my top 5 list. I put him on there. I think with the return of Derek Barnes, he's a little bit less interesting, but I still like him. I think he's a strong side. You know, he's a strong defensive end. He's productive because he's constantly on the field. He's not an elite pass rusher, but he's a power player. I like Draymond Jones's fit. I'm with you there. I think he fits. But I like what he's doing. Broderick Martin better start playing some good football. Otherwise, look, I thought he did a lot of good versus Green Bay. I thought it was just up and down. And they might lean on him this year because that's what they do with their draft picks. But I won't count him out because clearly we shouldn't have counted out Levi either. Steelers closing in on deal with Aaron Rodgers. Oh, snap. Hey, truth. The truth, right? This is like, how are we feeling? Steelers are closing in on a deal with Aaron Rodgers. Pittsburgh, that Justin Fields wants to test for agency. Oh, yeah. That's all that's going to be being talked about now. But no, I would definitely not have deal with Draymond Jones. Robert Spillane to the Pats. Bro, I'll tell you, there's one thing New England knows. They know linebacker. They seemingly know linebacker. And they haven't been spending money at off-ball linebacker recently. I think last year they had, was Taki one of their linebackers last year? I like that for them. I like that. Steelers are all that to go 9-8. Dang. It's unfortunate. Oh, man. That's wild. That's wild, man. Aaron Rodgers, baby. Okay. Wait, but why didn't they put the Spillane thing? If that happened, why didn't they put that on here? I would like to see that. I guess X is still down. That's probably part of the issue. That doesn't seem to be working. I think this tracker is always updating itself. Jimmy G staying with the Rams? Okay. Yeah, I think some of these are just not working. Rap to put on Blue Sky. I don't know what that is. But are you talking about Taylor Rap? How'd you feel about Tryon Shoyinka? I feel okay with Joe. I like the way that he plays. He just hasn't produced. I've always tried to fall in love with it. It just hasn't been there. But he always plays well against us because he kept blowing up our screens. You know, he's a smart player. He fits style-wise. I just don't think he's ever shown it on film as a pass rusher. But I'm not mad at it on a cheap contract. I'm okay with Paulson Adebo too. I'm okay with that. I don't think it's necessary, but I'm okay with it. But like I said, my top cornerback option is Mike Hilton right now. I mean, I'd think if there's a guy that I could get, I'd prefer him. But I'm not mad at Adebo either. I don't think we need to do it. You know, we need to go get a multi-year deal cornerback because I like who we have. But we definitely need to add corner. Inside, outside, short-term, long. Like, we need to add something at cornerback. We need to. We just don't have the depth right now. So they'll do something there. But look, I was one that said, hey, cornerback, you should prioritize. Oh, here we go. You should prioritize Carlton. But so I'm always with corner. However they want to do it, I'm always with corner. Jets are signing Jordan Lewis. Jordan Lewis was pretty good last year. The Jags, sorry. So the Jags, are they getting Carlton still? I mean, honestly, they could sign both. But Jordan Lewis is like a number 2 corner. And they do have Tyson Campbell, who they seem to like. So they're going Jordan Lewis. The Rams are bringing back Jimmy Garoppolo, a 1-year deal. Okay. Jordan Lewis is like an absolute number 2. All right. We back. Just got Chipotle. Oh, snap. Okay. Chipotle do sound fire. Hold up. Don't be doing that, man. Because, like, I'm going to have a 10-minute slot before I have to jump on Bleacher Report. And I don't got Chipotle ready, Charles. You know what I mean? I'm about to be going eating bread. That's the crazy part, right? Hopefully Ennis plays season. Hopefully he does, man. Hopefully he does. Because I don't know how they feel about it. And you know, honestly, corner's similar to from that perspective. There's some similarities with corner to defensive line, right? Like defensive tackle, Aleem's that dude. He's just got to be on the field when he gets back. Rakestraw, we don't really know, but I believe Rakestraw is that dude. It's just, is he going to be that dude next year? I believe he will, as long as he's on the field. Oh yeah, I'm being straight bread. You know what I mean, Charlie? You got 10 minutes. What are you gonna do? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna eat bread. If I put butter on it or something, I'm gonna be eating straight bread. You better believe I'm eating that straight bread, man. Jimmy G to Devontae connection. Okay, that's crazy. No, that's actually crazy. Wow. See, that's good. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of thing that we need. I hope Carlton Davis is a Lion. Because like they could look at both. They could sign 2 corners. The Jaguars really could. I think Jordan Lewis is probably smarter because I think Jordan Lewis isn't latching them into stuff. Like I said, they don't have an identity, have many playmakers defensively. I don't think they've been coached well. I think that's their problem. Like, I mean, well, take that back. Maybe they haven't drafted well, but it's one or the two. Because I mean, let me tell you about who the Jaguars have under. It's crazy. The Jaguars depth chart looks like a lot of like, oh, there could be something there. There's like, that's their entire defense. There could be something there. And they've put none of it together. Their defense, Trayvon Walker, Davon Hamilton, Mason Smith, Josh Allen. It's not bad, but you need it to come together. Linebacker, Devin Lloyd, Aluakon, Chad Muma's their backup with Ventrell Miller from Florida. Not bad. Cornerback, Tyson Campbell. Honestly, Tarek Brown was probably the guy that I think we attacked over and over. But Jerry and Jones was good for him last year. I think in nickel. I'm pretty sure he was pretty good for him. And he might have been their best corner. And now adding Jordan Lewis, like they have dudes, they just need an identity. And I think that's why they got their new head coach. But like the investment in Armstead didn't really work for him. Jeremiah Ledbetter is a nice piece, but he's a free agent this year. They got dudes, man. They just need someone to pull it together, I feel like. Absolutely, bro. Like this, yo. And it was weird too because it's like I kind of liked how they played defensively because they were tough to get. Like it was like tough because they wouldn't allow space really, but they didn't allow space, but they just put themselves in horrible spots matchup wise. Like you would just get whoever you wanted 1-on-1. It was like, all right, go to work on that. Like they didn't protect themselves from anything. They didn't put themselves in advantageous situations. They just didn't allow a lot of easy window, which is not maximizing your player personnel because their player personnel, while there's upside there, they're not better than other teams. And Jordan Lewis is kind of right to that. So they need just better coaching. Aziz will be a solid move. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm on Aziz. Like it'd be better now because we don't have to give up a draft pick. He's another guy that I never got there watching his film. Like he had production, never popped me consistently. I always felt like he beat up bad teams and it was like, all right, there he goes. But if you can get him in free agency, similarly to the other guy, I don't remember who it was that we were talking about earlier, like Hassan Reddick, that's their deal. But if you can get Aziz now in free agency, to me, that's smarter than having to get the draft pick. Now I'm on board because it could be a very cheap contract, that kind of thing. And I could see a guy like that fitting better than a guy like Baron Browning because he's got a little bit more to him. But neither one I'm like in love with. But like, yeah, if I don't have to give a draft pick, now it's more interesting. Surprised the Cowboys haven't made a move. But I think it's a weird because they didn't trade him and then they let him become a free agent. What are you guys doing? Bears looking scary though. All right, I think we got a Bears thing. It took me a second and then I saw the Bulls. I'm like, all right, here we go. It was like, wait a second. This is not a Lions fan saying this. I feel you though. Bears looking scary. Y'all are doing what you have to do. You know what I mean? You're doing what you have to do. Everything you've done right now, I think, makes sense. That's what I'll say. Nothing that you've done feels crazy. I'm waiting for what's next, right? Because you had to put the offensive line together, and you had the money to do it, so you did it. I'm not mad at it. I don't like the Jonah Jackson move. I think that was bad just because he's getting paid too much, but I understand it. He's a good athlete. Put him back at guard. I get it. You guys do what you had to do. And you got the coach, I think, that's going to make it right offensively. So, look, and I was asked, we were on a roundtable show yesterday, and they're like, who's the big, the team like in the NFC North? I said the Bears. And I thought that was last year, too. And obviously that wasn't true, but I believe it again. I think the Bears, they have a good roster, especially now. Like, there's clearly the biggest hole. I think they have a good roster. Never gave a first-round pick, though. I missed something. Reddick signed with the Bucks. Yeah. Yep. Reddick signed with the Bucks. And that I was bringing him up because like we talked about him at the trade deadline. He signed like the 1 year $14 million. And I never really loved it because I didn't want to also have to give the picks plus pay him. But signing on a 1 year deal is much more reasonable. Bears still don't have a quarterback. Dang. Is that true? Who said that? Tristan, is that true? Y'all don't have a quarterback still? Hearing Bosa to the Niners? I did. I heard that yesterday too. That's fun. That's fun. I like that. I like that. I would like to see it. I mean, I think that's a fun move. They should do it. They definitely should try to do that. Because we heard J.J. Watt recently say, like, he would like to be with T.J. Watt. It never overlapped. So I think that would be cool. And I think it also could keep him healthy because he's with his brother. Bears do have a case to draft Genty. And it makes sense because we don't know how Ben felt. Like, we know, obviously, Brad moved off Swift. But we don't know that Ben would have necessarily moved off Swift. So they do. They definitely do. And people have mocked it there, and I think it's very on the table. I just think they should go very cookie cutter and take a tackle and build that offensive line. That's what I would do. With Ben Johnson, that's the one thing that could destroy it is my offensive line not being good enough. I know he's going to make my playmakers work, but the one thing that's going to hurt it is their offensive line is just not good enough. I would just take a tackle. They're building out their offensive line, and I just go from there, man. Because they do have weapons. But this is possible, man. It really is. Hufanga and the Broncos working to sign him. Why did I read it like that? My bad. I read that out loud. It made no sense. Broncos working to sign Hufanga. Okay. Anytime you see someone sign with the Broncos, it's like, oh, he could have fit with the Lions. Malcolm Koonce next to Hutch will be fired. That's my guy. If I'm going to pay big money for an edge, I'm paying Malcolm Koonce. Because he's going to cost a lot, but he'll probably sign a shorter deal. And the Lions do have money. It's not like the Lions are broke. I may make it sound like Lions are broke. The Lions do have money. Their problem is long-term money. You can't give out long-term money to a guy that you're not really sure is going to make sense. So that's where it's like, well, Levi, I love him back, but it has like 4 years is a problem. But Malcolm Kuntz will sign probably a shorter deal because he's coming off of missing the entire last season. So because of that, and he only played about 500 snaps the year before, I'd be able to sign him and I'd be able to give him more money for this year and even next year. But it's like once we get into 3-4 years, now it's a problem. That's where you get a problem with all these big edge rushers. But for, if he signed a 1 or 2 year deal, the Lions can overpay him. I don't even say overpay him, but they have the money to do it, especially this year. So I'm on this one still. I'm hanging on to this one, Detroit Sports Talk. I really am. I'm hanging on to the dangling rope that's possible. Paulson Adebo to the Giants. Is this news? Or are you predicting? They need corner too. My goodness, they need corner. So that makes sense that that's news. I like some things about their defensive front, but their defensive back end is pretty awful. He's off the board. Okay, so it is news. All right, good look. Now, the price point will be the story on that one, but I think that's okay. That's okay. He wasn't, like I said, he wasn't good last year as a man corner, but his defensive line was trash. You're betting on, that's a long-term move. That's a 3 to 4 year contract that I would assume he got. That's a big contract that you got out to corner. You're locking him in. And the Lions don't need to do that. Like I said, Lions can do that, but the Lions don't need a 3+ year contract on a corner. They don't need to do that. They have those dudes here that they believe in. I believe long-term. They may have their 3 starters of the future on contracts right now. Doesn't mean they can't do it though, because you can always find space, but you don't need to do it. And I think that Adebo was a guy, especially with his age, where you're locking him in for he's the future corner. He's the future piece, to what we're trying to do here. Okay. Got to extend Kirby, Brian Branch, Laporta soon. So Laporta is, I don't think those two are eligible yet, right? Because that would have been 2022. So 2022, 23, 24. Are they eligible? Is that 3 years? It might be 3 years. Yeah, they might be eligible. Yeah. I know Kirby is. Hold up. Are they eligible? Is it 3 years? Brian Branch might have been here for 3 years. Is it 3 years? Hold up. Let me look that up. Because I know him and Laporta were in the same. It was 2023 or was that 2022? 1, 2. Oh, no, they're not eligible yet. They've only been here for 2 years. So the only one of those that are eligible is actually Kirby. You have to be 3 years. So that'll be next year they'll be eligible for extension. But you have to be 3 years before you can extend or pick the 5th year option up on a 1st round pick. Big Dose, what's going on? What's up? Den in the D. I see you. Hey, that logo's looking crispy though. You know what I mean? How you doing, man? That logo's looking crispy. I see you. I'm in school, dog. I can't. Elmo. It's all good. It's all good. Like I said, I got to jump off here soon anyways. I don't want to. But Elmo, we're probably going to get, hopefully for your sake, we get news after 2:30 because that's probably when you're out of school. Hopefully that's when it happens. And my plan is tomorrow I'll be live here like this, and we'll go live for most of the day. We'll react to what happened. But like I said, I'll be live on Bleacher Report 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. And then we're going to jump on Bleacher Report again at 6:36 for 30 minutes. And outside of that time, we'll be posting over here any of the news that we get, man. Probably maybe through video, maybe through live stream. But we just saw the beginning of kind of everything. Yeah, Giants signing Paulson. What deal though? I wish we got the deal on that one. Titans assigned Dan Moore. Oh, snap. Wait, is that real? 4 years, $82 million. What? Wait, for real? Hold up. Milt Williams to the Panthers? That's a contract I want to see because that dude's going to make a ton of money. Hopefully it's not, though. Hopefully he don't make a ton of money. You know what I mean? Hopefully they doesn't. We don't need that. We need to make a little bit of money. Derek Barnett to the Texans, 1 year, $5 million. He's returning to the Texans, though, right? Isn't that a re-signing? Daniel, I see you. How are you, Daniel? Titans O-line look good. They need that D-line to look good. That's what they're thinking. Hold up. That O-line. They've been invested in that, though. They've definitely been disciplined. They've invested like crazy in that O-line. That D-line is just tragic. That's what That's what that's what they're fan. That's looking tragic over there. Maybe you can play a little D tackle. That's I think Barnett was with Houston last year, I think. That makes sense. Milton to the Panthers, though. It's interesting. They got a pretty good front. They got a pretty good front with Milton Williams in there. They got a lot of. They got. I don't think they have a lot of money, but they have some money to spend. I think I looked at it yesterday. They don't have like a ton of money, but they're betting on that for long term. They're trying to find core pieces in free agency, which now as a Lions fan, you can do it, but it's risky. But you can do it. Milton Williams is one of those guys that could be a core piece. You're just betting on that 1 year. That's who he is. Lions bring back Matthew Betts. No, I don't think so. It'd be fun. I don't think so. Panthers get Mason Graham. The Panthers pick 8. I don't think Graham's gonna get to 8. If he was there at 8, though, that would be Bleacher Report's YouTube. Yeah, we're gonna be on Bleacher Report. So you got to download the app. It might be on YouTube too. I don't know. But if you have the app, we'll be there starting at 1:30. And we're going to have Jesse Palmer with us. So we'll just basically do the same thing with a panel of 4. Just reacted to news, talking hot takes. It'll be a little bit more centered out, though, than what we're doing here. Or laid out. Yeah, I don't think Graham gets to 8. Unless they move up, though. But if he did get there, that'd be... Shoot, I'd take him if he's sitting there at 8. I definitely think they're going to go pass rush. That's what all their fans think. They all are seemingly thinking that's what they're going to do. What if we end up with Chase Young? I'm not mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it. I don't think they'll do it, though. I don't think they'd sign Chase Young. But I wouldn't be mad at it. Back up Hutchinson. Can you drop the link? Never get notifications. Yeah, let me see if I have it now. Here's what I'll do. I'm going to ask them when I get in there if I don't have it now. And I can throw it in the community tab. Let's see. Maybe they sent us. Or maybe it's already created. Because what I'm thinking is going to happen... What I'm thinking is going to happen is they're going to pick it up from whatever stream's already started, and we'll just continue it. 12 or 20 year of millet. Oh my goodness, bro. That sounds about right. I don't like hearing that though, man. 20 million. Okay, yeah, I think it's already started. Wait a minute. Let me see. My guess is we're going to pick up off of this stream, whatever they have going right now. Yeah, they have one going right now. So I'll put the link to the one that they have going right now because they have Jesse Palmer already on there. So my guess is we're just going to jump on this one because that's what we did last time, I think, for the trade deadline. So I'll throw the link. Here's what I'll throw it in the community tab. And this should take you to the stream that's going on. There you go. Okay, links community tab. And if you don't have the app, it'll take you to download the app. All right, chat. I got to jump out, man. We got to hop over there for our pre-show. I will see y'all over there, hopefully. Click the link in the community tab. If you don't already have the app, if you do, you'll see it. It'll be on the homepage if you follow the NFL. And we'll be live, 1:30 p.m. Eastern time. That's at the start. After that, I should be back over here. And either with a video or a live stream, because I'm assuming something will happen for the Lions. And then 6 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be back on Bleacher Report. They signed Tim Patrick just now? Is that what happened? Good. I hope that did just happen. That helps us. That's what we need. That's what we need. We'll see. I'm out, though. Appreciate y'all joining. And tomorrow, the plan is we'll be live a lot longer. You know what I mean? So we'll be back. But we're going to be live over there now for today. They just wanted to do a day 1 thing. But we make our moves on day 2. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows we're day 2. Day 2 Detroit. That's what they call us. All right. We out. Appreciate y'all joining.